welcome again to PTB NXT. I'm excited because we have somehow made it through a year of doing this podcast. Jennifer, Tim, how do you guys feel that we have made it through 1 year of PTB NXT?
God, have we already?
Yeah, it's been a year.
Yeah, I guess we did start in January, so next time we do this, it will have been over a year. Yeah, wow, that's impressive on our part in our ability to maintain commitments. And in that span of time, I guess we've covered about just about half a year's worth of, a little over half a year's worth of NXT television, right?
Feels like we're a little behind schedule. You know?
Did we have a schedule?
Well, the thing is something happened along the way because we were supposed to do one every month, and this is episode 11. So
right.
somewhere along the way, we did something and didn't do the full 12. But hey, we technically did it the entire year. We got into the double digits. I would call it a success.
I agree.
Yeah, you take your wins where you can find them.
And we still have our hypothetical listeners, so that's good as well.
Yes. And maybe in the year 2021, we'll actually get some real life listeners, some IRL listeners, if you will.
That's goals for sure.
We know what the beauty of hypothetical listeners is you always have them.
Right.
It's a normal podcast progression. Year one, only hypothetical listeners. Year two, maybe a few real people. And then, anything after that is laying you up. So
I agree.
But we are smack dab in the summer of 2014, as we'll get into. But before we will continue our wonderful tradition of finding new developmental names. So let's get going. So the first one I have up, I believe I'm usually the first to get the name. So I will be.
Should we let the folks know who which personalities washed out this time around?
Yes.
All right. So to recap quick, Jake, you are currently, I feel like, more of a manager, known as Whit Pantsuit. And
Whit.
Jenny, you are Caden Fisher.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and I am we think, inside joke known as Lump Levesque.
I forgot about Lump.
No, I think Lump Levesque is on this set of shows we're about to watch. I think they changed his name, but
I think it could be a better name. That's who I think you're talking about.
I think Lump Levesque, he's an old school warrior.
Okay, yep.
But anyway, thank you, Tim. So obviously, as usual, these have washed out. It's not working out. Whit. I think the problem is none of these are working out because they have two names, and obviously that never works. You can't have two names. You can only have one name in WWE. Yeah. So, right. So we need some new ones. So as I was saying, my name will be Gay. That's Gaye. Okay. Gay Blast Body.
Glass body?
Blast. Like
blast body.
Like blast off.
Okay.
What?
He's a blast in a glass, y'all.
Yeah.
So I guess his body's a blast.
Blast body. Right.
Maybe a modern Brutus Beefcake male stripper character. Blast body. And then... Yeah, so
he's a Cajun stripper.
The Cajun stripper.
Yeah, work at Bowl Me.
I'm picturing actually more like a. Remember when Chris Farley did the Saturday Night Live skit with Patrick Swayze and actually did a pretty impressive job of keeping up. I think that's more the physique of Gay Blast Body.
Well, I fit that bill. So it's like Otis as a male stripper, basically.
Yeah.
We need more of these. I like it.
And maybe he could be like a reverse Bob Holly, where how Bob Holly said he was a super heavy when he wasn't. This guy thinks he's like chiseled out of stone, but he's really like 100 pounds.
Svelte, yeah.
He's like, my body's a blast. And all the announcers were like, huh? Like,
I like it.
All right, Tim, you are going to be another name that is seems to have some innuendo attached to it. Hunk Underwood.
Oh.
Underwood.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Only thing better than Overwood is Underwood.
That might sneaky. That might be my sneaky favorite of all my names so far.
It's quite masculine.
Yeah.
It's a prequel to Deadwood. Underwood.
I'm gonna look him up on the Hub tonight.
Okay, I'm looking for Jenny's. It's giving me some that are just not even names.
Not even names.
Okay. Okay. Jenny, you are going to be Bronson Poutine.
I love it.
Canadian superstar. Maybe you could be managed by Brett.
Who?
I want to introduce you to my protege. I told Natalia to get the bricks because now I'm managing Bronson Poutine, my new niece.
my new niece, Bronson.
He fired Natalia. No longer his niece.
So, obviously trained in the dungeon.
Obviously, of course.
Maybe you can hang out with Tyson Kidd.
Hope not.
Poutine.
I'm going to ship my new niece with my former nephew, Tyson Kidd, and that's going to be the great NXT couple of 2020. Bronson Poutine and Tyson Kidd.
So when you get to the main roster, you would either be Bronson, or just Poutine.
Poutine. Definitely Poutine.
Yeah.
I can hear the Poutine chants.
Poutine.
We want Poutine. We want Poutine. Clap, clap.
Well, they might have to change the spelling of it, though, because you know how they like to do their own trademarks and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I don't know which. Yeah. That just turns into P-O-O. Poutine.
Honestly, the
I
vibe.
don't like it. I don't like that. No, thank you.
That's what they're going to do.
The vibe of these NXTs are watching, I could totally see them rolling with that and having like poop emojis on the little video screen.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they are in NXT and at this point that we're at.
And the great spirit of ruining everything that people once enjoyed once they get to the main roster. This is what your fate is.
Yeah. So, well, let's hope these names all work out in 2021.
Right.
We'll see. But I have a feeling, we'll see. All right. But we will continue through the year 2014. So we will pick up with the June 26, 2014 episode of NXT TV, and we'll follow with the next two after that as we continue to build to our next takeover, hopefully, but I think we're still a good ways away. I remember last time the vibe was kind of like we thought these were kind of maybe the roughest batch that we had been through thus far since we started the pod last time.
Yes.
We'll have to see if they right the ship with this and get a little more focused, and I think it's somewhere in between, but we'll see. So we open the show with the newly debuted Vaudevillains that we were introduced to on our last episode, and they are going to be facing some local talents in the form of Matt Sugarman and T. Perkins.
Yes.
So T. Perkins is, of course, who is now Elias.
Elias.
And I was going to say, he's big now, but I don't know. I feel like he's kind of fading away in the modern WWE now. Like, I think I saw something the other day that he's only wrestled like 14 matches on TV this year or something. So, but at one point
it was that many, honestly.
Yeah. But
I spelled T Perkins, but I spelled T like you drink, because I didn't catch it when they threw up the graphic, and I just heard T Perkins over and over, and I just decided in my head that that's how you spelled his name.
Yeah, I don't know if they got a graphic. I think this is one of those. They were already in the ring.
Yeah.
Situations, right? Yeah.
I put TE because that's what the closed captioning, but that cannot always be trusted. So
yes, I like Tim spelling.
Yeah, T. Yeah, like a nice peach tea.
Yeah, tea with a pinky out, Perkins.
And it goes with his partner, Sugarman.
There you go. Maybe that's why I did it subconsciously.
Probably so. Tea and Sugarman?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this is Tea and Sugarman.
Notice we have a lot more to say about them than the Vaudevillains, an actual team.
Yes. Well, the Vaudevillains, we've liked them so far, and so they kind of... I feel like this is a little bit less impressive than their initial showing, in that I don't know if it's just because the local talents really couldn't keep up with them. I don't know what their experience level was, but it seemed a little bit more disjointed than the other Vaudevillain squash we saw. Like it was a little bit, like, I don't know, they seemed a little bit out of sorts. And so, yeah, but they ended up squashing them. It was kind of slow. They didn't seem as crisp with their turn of the century offense as they did, or their amusement-based offense.
Their silent era
do a lot of holds. Yes.
Calisthenics-based offense.
But they still look pretty good. I'm still kind of into the characters. I think they need to get into something soon. But the main thing I feel like we need to talk about here, and this continues throughout the show, is we have the B team on commentary, which in this case is Rich Brennan, I think his name is, Renee Young, and then, of course, the Alex Riley, the lesser Alex Riley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, they are out of the gate very hot in not a good way. In that they are just saying, like, Renee is just, I don't know what she's on, but she is just says the most obscure things. Like here she says that Matt Sugarman is a big Bastion Booger fan. What? Not really sure why that would be relevant.
I don't think they knew what to say. Like,
no.
She was like manic. Like it was overwhelming.
They're also
shut the fuck up, Renee.
Yeah, they're also like, I don't know. The Vaudevillains is a, shall we say, rather broad gimmick that speaks for itself, and like they're just hammering home. Well, these guys are like silent era enthusiasts, like, you know, a turn of the century throwback. And we're like, we get it. And it's like they've never heard of the concept of show don't tell. So we're getting a lot of show and a lot of tell. And I will say I like that the Vaudevillains were introduced with their combined height.
Yes.
In a nice touch as they come out. But yeah, the commentary is just all sorts of trash throughout this match and all of the shows, to be quite honest.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Tim, when you said they tell instead of show. And the thing is, they're just telling you, I guess in their minds, or whoever's telling them to do this is thinking like just saying random facts about them builds their character, but it really doesn't at all. Like she said something about, I forget, I think it was like Simon Gotch. She said, oh, he's an uncle, a long lost uncle named Cannonball Richards. And I was like, okay, whatever. And it's just, they don't have the like Regal will say some weird stuff like that, but one, it's not all he says, and then he just has a delivery that's like entertaining. Here they like sound like they're trying so hard, and I agree, the commentary like throughout the rest of this episode for sure is real bad.
It's like they're reading off the IMDb trivia that no one cares about.
Yes.
And then the squash wasn't really that impressive, so I don't know. It was a lot of just smoke and mirrors and bullshit and nonsense.
Yeah, I went half a star on it, which is less than I normally even go for a squash. I usually give like the gentleman's 1 to a squash, but this one just felt kind of, it was all disjointed, and they just didn't like what we saw in the first time. They were like super crisp at all their, silent era offense, but this time it wasn't quite as smooth.
I did go ahead and give them the gentleman's star, but it truly is just a gentleman's star, because what can you do with this?
Exactly. So we will move on the Vaudevillain.
Jenny, what'd you
win?
Yeah, I was at half a star as well. Just
half a star. Yeah. So we'll see what becomes of the Vaudevillains and Matt Sugarman. as we continue down the timeline. After this, we get a recap of Sami and Tyson Kidd in their tag match, and Tyson Kidd walking out and being a real dick to Sami Zayn. And so we get an interview with Sami Zayn where he kind of does the normal Sami thing where someone's kind of pissing him off, but he's a nice guy, so he doesn't want to be too mean. But you could see him sort of showing his frustrations here with Tyson Kidd and his actions of walking out and being a dick. So kind of sowing some seeds of tension between Tyson Kidd and Sami Zayn. I thought this was pretty good. He's pretty good at these kind of, angry face promos, and that he's trying to keep his composure, but he can't kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really good at that. Frustrated and sweaty promo. Tired, it was really good, It felt real.
Good at walking that line where he doesn't sound like he's whining or complaining, but he's not, gee golly, I'll get him next time either.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, which that's really hard to do, especially with the way that this company treats baby faces. Less of a problem in NXT, certainly, but that's just hard for anyone, I feel like. And he's been doing a really great job throughout this year and throughout our coverage of pulling it off.
Yeah, definitely. He's that's a good point. He's because he doesn't come off as whiny, but he also doesn't. He's vulnerable, which is the problem a lot of times with their faces. He sounds like a quote unquote a real human being, which is
good.
Yeah,
he does.
All right. So, but will this not be the last we'll hear of this conflict through these shows? So we'll continue on. We have Xavier Woods, who is still kind of meandering about in NXT, and he's going to be facing Bull Dempsey, who is a guy that we've seen before in these, but they didn't really focus a lot of attention on him. But we are going to start to see the Bull Dempsey push start to happen here, because they really start to give him a lot of coverage and talk about him a bunch here. So Alex Raleigh says that Xavier Woods is, if you look up charisma in the dictionary, you would see Xavier Woods. Do you guys think that that's accurate?
No.
I would say no.
No.
Not in this form.
But it's sort of like clearly they're reaching for anything to say about him.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those deals where you wonder why he's still slumming it, so to speak. But if he goes back to the main roster, I mean, what's he going to do there? So, yeah, he's kind of spinning his wheels, poor Xavier now.
Yeah, every time I watch these.
I couldn't put my finger on it with Bull Dempsey, I think, until just now. So I will pose the question to you. Why does Bull Dempsey look like one of Cousin Eddie's kids in Christmas Vacation?
Okay.
He's an old school warrior, Tim.
You know the one I'm talking about? Obviously not the cross-eyed girl, but the boy.
Yes.
Formerly cross-eyed. She got kicked in the face again and it fixed it.
I was about to have a fit because my note says, why does Bull Dempsey look like great value Matt Souza?
The old school warrior Matt Souza. Put Suze in a singlet. Throw him out there.
I feel like
it kind of does.
I feel like Matt Souza is an apology from this show.
So he's a good company. He's a good company, though, because on commentary they say that, we had Seth Rollins, NXT, Bray Wyatt, and now Bull Dempsey. So, poorly aged there.
So by the transitive property, are we saying that Matt Souza looks like the Cousin Eddie kid from Christmas Vacation?
No. You're probably more right than I am.
That would be rude. I can see both. I can see both for Bull Dempsey. I kind of have to squint for the. I mean, it's very great value.
Right.
Matt Souza.
Yeah.
Our friend Matt Souza.
Our good, close, personal friend Matt Souza.
We're like Bull Dempsey.
Suze Dempsey. Bull Dempsey's.
Folks, we apologize. It is the day before New Year's Eve when we're recording this.
It's been a long day.
Moving on. Sorry.
Anyway, also, not much goes on in the match, but we also have CJ Parker out protesting with his "Stop the Big Thaw" sign, which gets him huge heel heat because apparently caring about global warming and that kind of thing makes you a big heel. They try and make him off to be like he's sanctimonious or like smug about it, but he really hasn't been that bad, honestly. He's like right. Protesting with a sign. So I don't know how he's being really that obnoxious, but they really don't like him. Renee says that Bull Dempsey eats at Pies and Thighs.
Same.
So fun, interesting facts from Renee as always. And so it's the same. This is one where I definitely felt like what Tim was saying, like show instead of tell, because they're just telling us constantly Bull Dempsey's an old school warrior. Don't make him like this anymore. It's like, yeah, we kind of get by looking at him, and that's what his gimmick's supposed to be. Quit like beating me over the head with it and let him just be this, because I think that's what we said when we saw him the first time, is that he kind of had that vibe and it was sort of cool. But he didn't look. This is another squash where he didn't look particularly impressive. I mean, he had a few like cool like power moves at the end, like his finisher, the bulldozer, which was like a power slam. That looked pretty good. But I wish he would have done a little bit more in the match to kind of show that he was like a wrecking ball or like powerful. Because a lot of what he was doing was some headlock based offense a lot throughout this match.
Well,
to
be fair, I thought his headlock was pretty good. Like it looked like. Xavier was really fighting to get out of it, and I don't know. I thought his offense looked pretty fun. He was pretty rough, kind of. No selling a lot of what Xavier was doing to him. So I don't know. I enjoyed his sort of wrecking ball concept.
Yeah, they do at least work the move for as much headlock based offense as it is. So that's always a pet peeve of mine when they just slap on a rest hold and don't actually do anything. So I'll give him credit there. The finish was, I don't know, like we see him later in this run of shows. I think the next time he does it looks a little bit more impressive. Here it looked like it looked like a seated body slam, and I'm like, what? I don't understand how that's supposed to be all that devastating. But all in all, this left such a strong impression on me that I completely forgot to rate it. So we'll just call it a half star. I mean, it was a basic squash, right?
Really?
I went a star on it.
Did you? Maybe I'll be kinder and give it 3/4 of a star.
Oh my god!
I just don't remember it.
I gave it 2 stars. I thought.
Good lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought Bull looked pretty good, and threw Woods around pretty well, and I don't know. I'm interested in him.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in him too. Like, I like the whole idea of it, that there's like this guy who's sort of different and it's not quite like anybody else that they have. So I'd like to see how he develops. But another thing is just like Xavier Woods just getting fed to him. Like, he pretty much just like crushed him. Yeah. It's every time I see Xavier Woods on these shows, I just think like, man, it's amazing like his career recovered, because he seems like he would be like on the way out for good. Like, thank God the New Day came and kind of brought him out of this, because this is pretty rough. He's like jobbing the Bull Dempsey on NXT. Like, that's
2014.
Yeah, so
he really does seem like one we'd be looking back on this show and going, wow, whatever happened to Xavier Woods?
Yeah, like a Justin Gabriel situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, after the match, Bull actually gets the mic. He announces that this is going to be an era of devastation, and even he says that he's old school. So again, just beating us over the head on commentary. They're saying he's an old school warrior. He says he's old school, and then he kind of does this almost like uncomfortably long convulsing thing at the end, where like they zoom in on his face, and I guess he's supposed to be like seething kind of. But it went on for like a good 15 seconds, so it got a little weird. But I kind of get what they're doing. Like, he's kind of a maniac madman. Bruiser Brody is like, I think, who they kept on trying to compare him to throughout all this. So I guess that's what the craziness was, what he's trying to channel there. So, but we'll see Bull again later on, and we can see how he goes in that one. Next up, we have quite a match here. We have a returning Summer Rae, and she is going to be facing noted one of the biggest female superstars they have ever had, Becky Lynch, who will be debuting on NXT here. Summer has well, actually, I don't think Summer has it, but I think Charlotte and Sasha accompany her to the ring because they are technically still the BFFs with Summer. And they have I think it's Charlotte has a "You Can't Sit With Us" shirt, and I was like, oh my god. As Jenny said, I was wondering how many PSI of pressure is on Summer's boobs because they are just very compressed. Renee asks Alex if he knows what it's like to be a woman as we're getting the match started. And then we get, which she just has no idea what to say to that. So, because they're doing their normal, very awkward talk about women and how women are and whatnot. And then we get Becky's entrance, and this kind of blew me away because I did not remember this as her original debut. So she comes out to an all green, Titantron video thing. She is wearing all shiny green, Irish green. They call her leprechaun and she's doing some kind of I call it river dance.
It looks like a river dance gimmick.
It's traditional Irish dancing. I was like, what is happening here? Is this really the gimmick that they debuted her with? Because it looked, I don't know. What was y'all impression of the debut of Becky here and her green and the river dancing and whatnot?
I lost it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely different from what the other girls have got going on. Better than Emma. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I didn't even make that comparison.
The Emma line.
Yeah, they just they traded one awkward dance for another, I guess. So.
You're right.
But Becky has so much more personality, I feel like, than Emma did. So she brings something to it, I think, even though it's severely lame.
It's just hysterical how
it's painful.
This is future WrestleMania main eventer, Becky Lynch, and this is her debut. I'm kind of glad it's this ridiculous because I sort of love those types of contrasts between someone's debut and their peak, Mm-hmm. And I'm so thankful that we can draw that line because I just remember her doing kind of the steampunk gimmick, which I think she'll pick up later on this year. And that doesn't feel that far removed from modern Becky Lynch,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just holy what?
Yeah.
And all the stories you heard about how she was sort of this rather celebrated international wrestler for a while on the indie circuit, and then semi-retired and became a flight attendant, I want to say, and they had to convince her to come back to wrestling. They're like, no, please get with NXT, help, just be a solid hand there, get everybody else in a position where they can really do something. It doesn't have to be a career or anything for you. Please just help us out, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is this is how she comes in, and I'm like, what a change! What a vast departure.
Yeah, because I remember they always have leaned into her being Irish a little bit, but not to the point of absurdity like this. I was trying to think of people who got to her level, or got to main event status and how they started off. And I was just, this would be if Stone Cold, people always talk about the Ringmaster, if Stone Cold had came out and he was some J.R. Ewing cowboy or something, wearing a cowboy hat and sewing the nose, oh, he's a Texas boy, and he's rides a horse to the ring. That's what this is. They even say oh, she's close with Sheamus because obviously they're friends. because they're both Irish.
All Irish people know each other.
Yeah, stereotype. They also say that Renee says that Becky was taught to dance by Colin Farrell's brother. So.
Oh yes, another random IMDb fact. Yes.
It was just going to help get her over as a wrestler, knowing that.
Does Renee just Google people as they come to the ring and then just read their wiki? I don't know.
Yeah, you wonder where she gets this stuff.
And now I'm wondering how much of this is, like she said, I'm like, I don't know if I should believe you or not. I don't know if this is true or you just like saying shit.
It makes me want to fact check her.
And then also Rich at one point, I don't know why it cracked me up, but he called Charlotte, and that just killed me. He goes, "Oh, here comes Charlotte."
Charlotte Flair.
And at that point, I was just like, I was like, man, the commentary. It was just spiraling, the commentary here. But what did y'all think of the actual match? Because I thought, Tim kind of said, she has some wrestling experience, but I thought Becky looked real green here. Like she did a roll at one. Yeah, like she did a roll at one point that was like real janky. And Summer Rae is definitely not the person to carry someone who is not that adept at wrestling. So this whole match was like pretty rough. And then they kept doing like at the beginning of the match, like Summer, I guess, is in her Fandango mode. So she's doing like this tango thing. And then Becky's countering with the river dance. And I was just like, what is happening? And they go back to that throughout the match. Like Summer, like they just randomly start dancing in the middle of the match. And like there were parts where like they were dancing and I had to pause it because I was just like losing it and like felt bad for them. Like Becky looks uncomfortable doing that dance. She's like, what am I doing here? Like, but eventually the BFFs distract Summer and Becky actually wins with a, I think it was an exploder suplex, but our wonderful commentary team, Rich just goes, wow, what a suplex. So he didn't even know what kind of suplex. So this whole thing was pretty rough from the commentary to, the match itself didn't have a lot going on. Not really smooth. I went a 1/4 star on it.
Oh my God.
Wow. Imagine giving Becky Lynch a 1/4 star.
Sorry, Beck.
Okay. So this is the battle of ballroom dancing based offense versus Riverdance offense. I didn't think Becky looked as bad as you did, Jake. I do wonder how much she was just hampered by the gimmick. And how she was like trying to be mindful of, I guess I have to sort of try to get this gimmick over, so let me do a random river dance in the middle of my offensive flurry, or something. I mean, and Summer Rae is, let's face it, she's been no great shakes from the start.
Nope. So
all in all, I feel like you couldn't expect too much from this. I ended up going 1.5 stars, which is astronomically higher than you, I realize, but still pretty poor, for again future WrestleMania main events. Yeah. Becky Lynch in her debut.
Well, I'm with you there. I'm at 1.5 stars too. She got over like immediately with the crowd, so there's something to be said for that. Like, Becky chants already, so it was her. She has something different, I think, than what we've seen thus far in like a Summer Rae or something like that. I thought it was a decent debut for a wrestler. Riverdance aside.
Yeah, I mean, it's silly, but you can't ask for much more
by all the dancing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is something that the crowd is so into her from the jump here, and I don't quite know why. I mean, NXT crowds are somewhat smart crowds, but they're also just kind of well-behaved families. So I'm like, how do all these people know who Becky Lynch is,
Maybe they're just happy to see another female wrestler, besides BFFs,
right?
And Bailey.
So they're pretty into her from the get-go here, and that's not bad.
Yeah, I wonder how long this leprechaun gimmick is going to last.
Yeah.
Before maybe they're like, hey, she's like talented. Maybe we should give her something that's not stupid. Like,
yeah. Hopefully quick.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think we see her later on. So maybe
Yes.
maybe I'm being too hard on poor Beck, but we get a commercial for the wonderful WWE film Road to Paloma, directed and starring Jason Momoa.
I want to see
Never
it now.
seen it, but
Me too.
yeah.
We got to watch it for sure.
All right, we'll put it on the watch list. Road to Paloma. Wonder if it's streaming anywhere. Continuing on after our Road to Paloma promo. Well, as you look, Tim, I'm going to tell you about this Big Cass versus Sawyer Fulton match. Very riveting matchup we have here. Sawyer Fulton is, of course, the fellow that we saw quite a long time ago when he had a very awkward exchange with Sylvester LaFour. That we thought was dealing with a male escort business, I believe.
I forgot about that.
He was the male the male escort.
Yeah, that is his most notable thing he's done in the year we've been doing this podcast.
Good news, guys.
Yeah.
Get your local library card ready because Road to Paloma is streaming on Hoopla.
Oh, yes.
And something else called. It's literally a purple. The logo for them is a purple square with 4 dots running vertically down the center. I have no idea what this service is. Tribeca.
Oh.
Apparently it's Tribeca.
Of course.
Great branding there, Tribeca. Oh, and when I click it, it says not found. Sorry, this page could not be found. So perhaps they don't exist anymore. Okay. Anyway, something to watch for your New Year's Eve.
Maybe this is when WWE comes out with the like tiers of the network where you can get like the premium version.
Oh,
like then you get Road to Paloma. So,
God, they've made so many of these movies too. Is this even really one of theirs? I mean, feels like it has to.
It has the WWE Films like thing on the end of it, so
okay.
I guess they had some involvement. Yeah, very odd. Considering it doesn't really seem very wrestler focused. Like I don't see anybody who's in it. They could have put Sawyer Fulton in it again. But, so Big Cass is out. Obviously, he's from New York, New Jersey, and Alex Riley like, the whole time is doing this really weird. Like I guess he's trying to do a New York accent, but he just keeps repeating, "How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?" Like he just keeps on saying it like the whole match, and I don't know why. Then we get another Renee fun fact that Sawyer trains with thumbtacks in his boots. So more fun facts. Basically, this is Big Cass. He sells for a second and he wins with his big boot and his elbow. Really, that's pretty much all that happened throughout this entire match.
Elbow drop with theatrics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is how that would be called.
Histrionic elbow.
Versus, yes, the histrionic elbow.
And misspelling.
Yeah.
Yes. So I went half a star on it. Not much to speak of. Just Big Cass getting the win on old Sawyer. Any additional thoughts?
I likewise gave it a half a star. We need to talk about something very uncomfortable. I did warn you about this last night. Yes. But we need to talk about Colin Cassidy's severe chest knee situation.
Let's break it down, Tim.
I found it very upsetting.
Do it like, can you do it like JR in Beyond the Mat? And you like telling him about his.
He's got a good look, but he's got to do something about that chest knee. That would be something he could take from that for that. I can't do a good JR at all. I can't do a bad JR. It looks like. Okay, this will be a reference you guys get. It looks like Brundlefly, not when he was completely falling apart, but shortly after his initial telepod transformation. So it's not like stage 4 Brundlefly, who's barfing all over Twinkies and climbing on walls. It's stage 1 Brundlefly where he's breaking arms in bar fights over candy bars and stuff like that. And he's just got like some spackle, it looks like, on his body that you're not quite sure what it is. This is the blemish situation. And it's really just confined to his chest, which I don't understand, because upper body acne is certainly a problem for some of these, shall we say, bodybuilder types. But it's more so back knee, which is think of like Gene Snitsky as the classic example of the extremely back-knee wrestler. But no, old Big Cass here has just got it going on and is primarily in his pecs. Mm-hmm. And it's distracting. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to...
let me tell you, you're a big son of a bitch. It's a
image-conscious business, okay? Like, these things have to be called out. I'm no Fries myself, but...
Looks on your big son bitch, but your chest looks like a fly. Early stage. You ever saw a movie The Fly? It's like the early stages. That's what your chest looks like. So we got to get that cleaned up.
I'm sure it's a universal reference for all of our listeners.
It is. Totally is.
Okay.
Jen, what you think of the match?
I can't say that I even noticed his chestney, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I didn't know that I'd noticed until, like, I saw a little something that just, I'm like, what is that? Mm-hmm. Like, there's something between his pecs there that I thought it was like his necklace hanging down kind of low or something. I was like, or his hair was a weird hair situation getting in the way of the camera. And I'm like, no, he's got like a bunch of blackheads just lining up to take flight right between his pecs there. I don't get it.
Poor guy. He probably felt very self-conscious out there too.
I'm sure. Well,
downside of HD.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, about in the 70s.
It's always fun watching Big Cass, to me, just boot somebody and be done with it. But then, we get a return at the end. So 0.5 star for me.
Yeah. We, of course, get Enzo returning. Last time we saw him, he was in his motorized wheelchair. He's coming out to the ring to help his buddy because the what will later be called the Legionnaires. Speaking of ailments,
tag team wrestling.
Yeah, I think at one point they call them Legionnaires' disease on commentary at one point. I think. But we have Marcus Louis and Sylvester LaFour come down, and they are in some extremely tight t-shirts, like skin tight, painted on. Renee, again, in her haze of whatever's going on with her, just says they work out, which was very strange. I don't know what is going on with Renee on these shows, but they cower away from Enzo for some reason, and Enzo does his normal rap, his their version of the New Age Outlaws kind of thing, which he also calls out the French. He makes jokes about them being French. What did you guys think of Enzo? Because it's kind of the first time we've seen him it's the first time we've seen him as like Enzo and Cass doing the whole Enzo and Cass shtick kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I know this is kind of polarizing, like them as a team and that sort of thing.
I forgot how over they were, I think is what it boils down to for me. I think people could be forgiven at this point in 2014 for maybe thinking Enzo was done. Like we hadn't seen him in a while. So for him to come back out here, reunite with his buddy, and they get like a pretty good promo time, and are very over. Like haven't been forgotten in the eyes and the hearts and minds of the NXT universe. So good for them. We will just have to monitor. Does this get old? At what point does it get old? Because I sort of think maybe it will. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm just excited to have some more tag teams, even if they are Sylvester LaFour and whatever the fuck the other guy's name is.
Marcus Louis.
Louis, of course. How could I forget? But yeah, I like this. I'm ready to see where this goes. I mean, hopefully, they can move past these Legionnaire characters, and actually maybe put a little run together, maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah, if nothing else, nice additions to, I would say additions to the tag team division, but creation of a actual tag team division.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with Tim. We'll see if it gets old because they kind of do the same spiel every single time. But I think I do give him credit because he does have good delivery, considering, like, there's plenty of people throughout wrestling who have been given a microphone who can barely like speak on a microphone and like not stumble over their words. So he at least has good delivery. It's obviously super rehearsed and he has this whole spiel down, but good for him for being able to deliver it. It's just a matter of, like Tim said, will it get old? Because I have a feeling it's going to be the same, or maybe a variation of the same shit every time. So we'll see how it ages. Yeah. But now we go to our main event, which we actually were told about on the previous episode, which is going to be RVD versus Neville, which is kind of a little dream match on paper, I would say. We're also going to get Tyler Breeze on commentary. Because he is the number one contender, so he's coming to scout, or so you would think he is, but he really doesn't at all. He just kind of looks at his phone and stuff, which is funny. He's giving, so again, the commentary, the whole time Breeze is on commentary, Renee's just like badgering him with questions, and he's just like, can you stop asking me questions? Like, you could almost feel like him, like the real guy, is just like, you really put me on the spot here. Like, I didn't know you're gonna ask me all these questions. I don't have good answers. So he kind of plays it off well, like in the Tyler Breeze character, and just kind of gives her like the whatever, like, I'm busy, leave me alone. Like, I don't have time for you, Renee. But I could kind of feel like he was like, man, you really should tell me if you're gonna ask me all these questions, because I don't know what to say. It's just weird. It's not usually, like, she was like interviewing him, which is not usually how guest commentary spots go.
Right. It takes the focus off the match entirely too.
Yeah, and it's a fun little match happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. So my note said, I wish Renee would shut the fuck up.
Yeah, pretty much same. I mean, I have it down, like, this commentary, the exchange and the back and forth and having Tyler out there, it's kind of funny, but it's just, why are we doing this in the middle of a match?
Yeah, you kind of you either have Breeze do commentary on what's going on in the ring and kind of be smug about it, or even if you just want to do the thing that the whole gimmick is that he never says anything about it because he doesn't care. But you at least have to, like you said, it's really taken away from the match, which is sort of a big match for them. I mean, they have RVD here at Full Sail in front of this tiny crowd fighting the champion, and then you're kind of distracted by them with these weird, awkward questions constantly. But the match itself, I thought RVD would have got a bigger pop. I thought the pop was a little mild. I know it's a small building, it could just be the audio, but I thought they would like explode for him. I remember liking RVD in this little like old man RVD comeback run in this era. He looks huge compared to Neville. Like, I never really thought of RVD as a big guy, but he looks massive. He looks huge, and maybe he's put on a few pounds since his younger days, but he really made Neville look tiny. But yeah, I thought this was a really good match. They did a lot of cool spots. It made logical sense. The only downside for me was this: it did feel a little bit slow in points. I think just because RVD's advanced age. And maybe I'm just so used to seeing him, like watching Prime RVD where he's going like full speed and is kind of like insane. Like here, he felt a little bit in slow motion. I felt like there was a few spots where you kind of see him slowing down as they were trying to set up the spot or maybe call the spot. But either way, Neville was super impressive as always. It never really got into like a real high gear that I was hoping it would get to, but it was still really good. I liked Neville hits like an insane moonsault because he's a freak, just crazy. So besides that, I thought it was a good match. It could have been better. I went 2 3/4 on it, just because I feel like if they would have maybe picked it up a little bit, I really think it could have been something really good. But as it was still solid, and I enjoyed it as a kind of just a random match to put Neville over with like a major star guy.
I really enjoyed it as well. I thought that RVD, you were right. He's a little bit slower, and Neville was kind of taking it easy on him a little bit, maybe cutting his own speed a little bit, maybe. But I mean, RVD was working hard and sweating, but he wasn't. He was sweating, he was working, but he wasn't gassed. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't like struggle to the end or anything. Like he really did hold up pretty well, and I thought they both looked really, really nice. It was just like, just put it on mute and watch it, because you'll enjoy it so much better. Like I would recommend somebody, like, put this on or whatever. Just don't listen to it. I gave it 3 stars, Tim.
I'm right there with you guys. I found it a little bit anemic given who's involved and what you would expect from the two of them. But you just have to factor in this is 2014, Rob Van Dam. Jenny, I thought exactly the same as you, that if anything, Neville was probably slowing it down a bit so that octogenarian Rob Van Dam could keep up with him in the ring, given his advanced age, as Jake said. Commentary is completely worthless. If anything, takes away from the match rating. So if you're going to watch it, agreed, do it on mute. I gave it the gentleman's 3.
I like this one move, RVD. He's standing on the apron, and he fakes Neville like he's about to jump, and then Neville reacts, and then RVD does jump, and then Neville's not there, and then he just on the floor. I was like, what did we do there? What just happened? But I don't know. Still popped me though.
Business exposure.
Yeah, I think with this match, you have to kind of like not dock it for, because in your mind, you're just thinking like 2001 RVD against Neville, and you're thinking, good Lord, and you can't hold that against. You don't want to like dock this match because it can't be that, because I mean, he's still doing all the RVD stuff. It's just, he's just in first gear, because, you can't do the stuff RVD does when you like your whole life, or you'll be in rough shape. But they do kind of like they shake hands after, so to put over Neville, just kind of an old school sort of veteran putting over the young guy sort of thing, which works fine. And then he and Breeze have sort of a stare down to end the show, as they are, on sort of a crash course, you would think.
I think
Jenny, any thoughts on this?
I was disappointed that Breeze and Neville didn't tie up at the end there. What was the point of having Tyler out there if something wasn't going to happen?
I have a theory on that.
What you got?
I think that because we are so far out from the next takeover, that they've kind of put these weekly shows into the deep freeze.
Okay.
And things are just playing out very slowly. Okay. So stuff like that, you would think they would go ahead and pull the trigger on. They just don't, because they've got so much time that they have to kill, and to build it, you don't want to shoot your wad too early.
Can't have
and then by the time, you get to the takeover, it's like, well, we've seen these guys come to blows like a million weeks in a row already.
Right.
Sort of burnt out on it. I think they're just trying to pace it, and I think they're struggling a bit in that regard.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think Tim's right. And they're in a weird spot, because it's like he is the number 1 contender, but Neville's got other shit going on with the whole Tyson kid saga that's going to be continuing. So I think it was, good of them to kind of remind us of it, to make sure we don't forget, and to make us, make it seem like Breeze hasn't forgotten he's the number 1 contender. But I get what you mean, because you're just thinking, maybe have them fight. But this whole show, I went 4 out of 10 on this one, because I did like the main event a good deal. But man, everything in this show is actively hurt by the commentary for sure. I don't even know why they don't just let Regal and that crew do every show. I don't know why. Like, I feel like this crew needs like more time to practice off camera or something before they put them on the show. And they actively hurt it. I think maybe with better commentary, it would have been a little bit better. But yeah, kind of some rough stuff in the early part mixed with some crap commentary. It was hard, even with the pretty good main event, to go too much higher for me.
NXT is developmental for commentary.
I was about to say the exact same
We share a brain, Tim.
We do.
So I went 5 out of 10. Just because I think I liked a couple of things a little bit more than you guys, like Bull Dempsey and Becky. So, and it was 3 stars for the main, so 5 out of 10 seems right.
I'll split the difference and give it a 4.5. 3-star main event, definitely nothing to sneeze at. It's got the historical curiosity of Becky Lynch's debut for people who be interested in that. Is it that great of a watch? No, but I don't know. 4 or 5 in that range seems fine. So I'll just split the difference.
All right. So we will continue on to the July 3rd, 2014 episode. And thankfully, we have the more quality commentary team here of Regal, Todd Phillips, Tom Phillips, and
whatever his name is.
Byron Saxton. We start off with Kaz versus, I think he faced Sylvester Lafore here. Both Legionnaires come out, but end up, I kind of thought it was going to be a tag match at first, but then Enzo kind of just hangs and Marcus Louis kind of hangs.
Yeah.
And man, for somebody who is in such incredible shape, Sylvester Lafore is like such a jobber. He looks like he would be kind of impressive, but he just always gets his shit pushed in like every match. Like he gets like nothing in this match. He just gets creamed. Like it was shorter than the like entrances. He just got completely brutalized by Cass and got pinned. We had some good Regal lines here. He says that he called Enzo an over-caffeinated ferret, which was good. And he also said that white is I think somebody like Byron said, well, why are they wearing those white shirts? And Regal says because white is the color of the French battle flag. So some quality of UK-France rivalry humor there.
Burn.
I want to star on it just because I always love these squashes where like the one guy just gets crushed. Like it's like absolutely no offense. So
I think my standard squash rating is a 0.5 star, and that's exactly what I gave it. So I have nothing bad to say about it. It's just where it landed.
Yeah, I had the same note about Sylvester. I was like, his abs are insane, and he looks built, but like he just gets totally smashed. So that's hilarious to me as well. So 0.5 star.
It's weird when these guys are like actively feuding, supposedly, right? Either as singles or doing a proper tag team feud, to have as part of their program, so to speak, an absolute just humiliation of a squash match, because it's definitely more brutal than most.
Yeah, because I was saying it's more like they all get full entrances. Like even like Sylvester Lafore gets the full entrance just to get killed in like 15 seconds, which is funny. But all right, we continue and we get an interview with Neville, which is quickly interrupted by Tyler Breeze because he says Breeze interrupts because he was able to focus with Breeze on the outside. Says Neville is Ugo's face is killing him. So back to calling Neville an Ugo. Neville said they can go tonight, but Breeze says he can't because he has a gruesome finger injury, which he shows, and it's like a tiny little bandage on his finger. And they're definitely still the whole vibe of NXT, even here. I think this stuff is pretty good because Breeze is a good character, but they're definitely their whole vibe is they lean a lot into like goofy shit. I find through all of this, like it's very. I feel like that's their identity right now. It's like a little bit of like, we have awesome athletic matches, but a lot of it is like leaning into kind of goofy comedy stuff, like here with the finger injury.
It's like they aren't sure what to do when it's not athletically mat based, which there's only so much of that on a given show. And it's like, so how do we fill the gaps? Oh, let's do wacky, kind of irreverent characters and our version of comedy, which doesn't always hit.
Well, I think that right. So they're like learning how to be characters in theory, right? Like most of them are already pretty much wrestlers. but they don't know how to be entertainers. So that's what we get to watch, them trying out shit, right? So this sort of stuff is sort of fine with me. Like, I'm not expecting like a ton of like amazing angles and stuff here. You know what I mean? Like, and acting ability. So it's fine.
I guess I'm thinking of it as like what people think of in like the last few years of like modern NXT, where that kind of eventually became sort of their identity, is like building to these big super matches of these great athletes. So it's just interesting to watch these early shows and how much it's sort of, like you said, just them coming up with these goofy characters, and they kind of do goofy promos and stuff. It makes me think of like, well, when is the switch going to click and they start moving towards, I mean, I have an idea of when, and it's going to deal with when they get the people to do it. But it's just interesting to see, like, but I think it does work for Breeze, because he is, I don't know, for some reason it doesn't ever come off as too like unnatural with him. It just seems like that would be his character. So
he is kind of going through a transition himself, though, of just being put over as more of a serious wrestler, not just this sort of runway model who for some reason is moonlighting as a wrestler, which never made a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, because he got that win over Sami Zayn at TakeOver, which is like that's a good feather in his cap, right? For that kind of character and what we had seen to him at that point. They've done a pretty good job of developing him. I think it's just an example of just across the board. That's the kind of feel that you get from this show. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I could just do with some more variety instead of every single character being such a silly, just comedic kind of persona.
How you feel about Irish leprechauns, Tim?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
Well, somebody who's not a comedic character is Bull Dempsey, because he's an old school warrior, and he gets a video package right after this. It's just them pretty much like showing him, like, I would call it like gurning at the camera. Is that a word? I think
Gurning?
It's like when you like
Gurning.
it's like an old word for like scowling. It's like
gurning. Wow.
Gurning. I think that's the word.
Gurning?
You are the educator, so I'm gonna
Gurn.
We
Yes.
believe you.
But yeah, just a hype package. So again, it's like they're definitely got the
making a
kinda,
grotesque face is apparently what this means.
Yeah. There you go. See, I didn't make it up. Good job.
I'm gurning at you.
Old school warrior.
It does sound like something that Regal would say.
It does.
Oh, he's gunning at the camera. Look.
Look at all his gunning.
I'm just like William Regal. There you go.
You are.
Compliment. But to Tim's point, I mean, at least that's what intrigues me about Bull Dempsey, is that he is being presented kind of different than a lot of people, and that he kind of just seems like more. I mean, he is a little goofy because he's kind of over the top, but he is at least portrayed as like this kind of serious guy that just wants to whip everybody's ass and be mean and stuff. So I'm intrigued by him, and I want to see what they do with him, because they obviously have big plans for him. I mean, they compared him to like Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt, who would become future main eventers. So next up, we get quite an interesting tag match for historical purposes, which is basically all the four horsewomen in a tag match. We have Bayley and Becky teaming up against Sasha and Charlotte. I put that everyone that Bayley and Becky are such cornballs, because Bayley obviously we've talked about her character, and then Becky is her dancing leprechaun, so they're a nice little spunky cornball face team. And then we have the BFFs doing their normal kind of I don't know what you would call it, I guess sassy moves. I don't know.
Sassy baseball.
Sassy baseball.
Yes. So they kind of follow a pretty normal kind of tag format that you'd expect. Bayley kind of ends up as a face in peril. Sasha still, we've talked about it, she still seems a little bit limited here. I've yet to see her kind of break out, and this didn't really, like, I didn't see much from this that makes me think she's really upped it too much yet. I thought Becky had some really good selling as she was the when she was in there. They definitely leaned a lot on Charlotte and Bayley in this match, which I thought was smart, considering I think the other two are still kind of finding their sea legs a little bit. Becky at one point had some like awkward flailing kind of arm selling at one point. That was a little odd, but yeah, it was just kind of a normal tag match, kind of perfectly cromulent tag match that they did a good job of letting Charlotte and Bayley carry the load, because I think they're the two most talented at this point. So I went 2 1/4 on this one.
Yeah. Does have some historical significance there, the 4 horsewomen. But as far as a match, structurally, it's like a million other tag team matches we've seen here in NXT. I don't know. I don't want to say it totally left me cold. I like that it advanced the story of this tension between Charlotte and Sasha, because it's that miscommunication between them that led to Bayley getting the hot tag to Becky, and Becky got a nice little segment where she was cleaning house, but Charlotte cut it off, got the pin, asserting her dominance. So you get kind of the right outcome here. But as a match, it's like kind of no great shakes. And I sort of liked seeing Bayley totally like attacks Sasha post match. She like pretty aggressively throws her out of the ring, which is somewhat un-Bayley like, but you could tell that she's just like so fed up with these two, and reacts the way, here we go, say it with me, a way a normal human being would react.
Right.
So appreciated that. For Becky, it seems like she's toned down some of the Riverdance stuff. Definitely wasn't as pronounced here, although she is wearing the same severe green outfit. But yeah, I was sort of good with this. I do feel like, again, the story and the commentary remains a bit juvenile, shall we say.
Yep.
But it is building to something.
What was your rating on that one?
And I gave it 2 stars.
2 stars. Okay. So I think I was higher on this one because it was actually like a legit tag team match in the women's division, which we've had, feels like not a lot of. And they sort of dismissed a lot of that like petty girly stuff, and they actually let them like actually wrestle and not shade it in all this like, oh, you know how girls are crap. They kind of toned that stuff down, and I thought it helped a little bit. And I actually liked Bayley and Becky as a team. I thought they worked really well together. That seemed like they had a little bit of that, like you said, goofy chemistry. And you know, Becky or Bayley showing a little bit of sassy based offense at the end of the match. I guess I just like appreciated getting to watch what felt like a real match out of the women's division, because those seem few and far between. So I gave it 2 3/4 stars.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. It was a hashtag real match, as Tim would say.
It is a real match
for sure. And to be fair, like I kind of was hard on Becky in the first one, but I thought she was much better in this one, which kind of lends itself to, I think what Tim had said, that maybe, you know, her being there with Summer is not the best pairing for her if she's, you know, trying to get accustomed to all this. She did a lot better job when she had, you know, some better people to work off of, and they could kind of, you know, she didn't have to be in there the whole time and stuff. So I thought she looked a lot better in here than what she did on the other episode. So good for Becky. Let's get her out that stupid green outfit, though.
Yes, please.
All right, next up we get a rare occurrence, I would think. This has got to be the first one I've ever seen, a Justin Gabriel interview. which I've never seen before. He has definitely some like modern day AJ Styles hair going on,
Yep.
where it's like it's so straight it doesn't look real. It looks like like it's just like a wig's been implanted into his skull. Tyson comes up to him and calls him a loser, and he's a loser fact, which is Tyson's fact. What do y'all think of his fact?
It's so bad.
Fact. It's so like
Fact.
He's like
ass.
He's trying to get this fact catchphrase over, and how could anyone possibly get that over as a catch, let alone this kind of charisma sink Tyson Kidd. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
like I enjoy him in ring, don't get me wrong, but all of the character stuff with him is just so lacking.
Justin Gabriel is super hot, and
okay,
but this promo is really bad.
Yeah, he is like an example of like how I was talking about Enzo. You know, maybe it's very sticky, but like Justin Gabriel's like the other side of the coin, where like everything he said, like he doesn't sound like a person. Like he's just kind of like, it's like he's just saying words to us, and he doesn't know what he's saying. He's just kind of saying them. And Tyson's like real mean to him here, like basically saying like, look. He's like, look, dude, your career's going to be over soon. You're going to be gone. You shouldn't be back in NXT. You were on the main roster. So the best thing you can do right now is go out there and take it to Sammy for me. And I thought he was at least, besides his fact stuff, which is kind of corny, I thought Tyson leaning a little more heel. I guess just naturally, like a heel is going to seem like they have more personality than the like straight up baby face he was, but I thought he came off a little bit better here, and I was at least a little bit more interested in what he had to say than when he's given his sort of face promos. But yeah, he came off like a real dick, just telling poor Justin Gabriel he's going to be unemployed soon.
Yeah, I did find that unintentionally funny, and I believe he at one point likens his time in NXT to being in purgatory. And he implores Justin Gabriel to basically hold everyone down as much as possible. Yeah. Which is like, oh man, I don't think you're supposed to say that, dude.
I feel like Tyson was shooting. Right?
You know, shoot comments that aren't supposed to be shoot comments.
I wish I had never done what I did.
It's one of those, like, whatever. I'm sure there's no fear of that with Justin Gabriel here in NXT. Right. Like, who is he really going to be able to hold down? But it's just, or Tyson for that matter, to be honest. It's just sort of funny to hear that coming from him.
Taking a page from Monkey Brett. Saying
yeah, it's like this is, they're not exactly, you know, Shawn Michaels in the clique here. Trying to keep that young talent in their place.
They should form a new clique. Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd.
No.
Yes.
Mojo Rawley.
Yeah. Tyler Breeze.
So after this, we get the only reason I bring this up because I remember this ad when they showed it from the time, and it's basically like them saying all the things that it takes to make WWE happen, like this many cameras and 4,000 lights, and then but without you, it's nothing. And it's like Daniel Bryan coming out to the empty arena. In the empty arena doing the yes chant, I was like, oh man, this hits different now. Like,
yeah, it was very sad. I was like, this is awful.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look how surreal this is. Them going in an empty. Oh, wait, this is reality.
Without you, well, it's still.
Yeah, you still
we managed. We managed.
We'll just put you on we'll just put you on some like dystopian like LCD screens and fill the arena with that. It'll be fine. No big deal. We don't really need you. But yeah, it just kind of when I saw that empty arena.
Keep sending that.
We quit listening to you a long time ago anyway, so why would you even show up? It's fine.
And so we continue and have another bit of strife between Sasha and Charlotte as they kind of are throwing tons of shade at each other, sort of underhandedly. And the main theme of this is that they have no trust for each other. So the bonds of the BFFs continue to break, guys.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Tragic. See, when the BFFs explode.
I'm so ready for them to explode.
All right. And next up, we have a match that if I didn't have notes, I would completely forgot happened on these shows, which is C.J. Parker versus Steve Cutler.
Isn't Steve Cutler still around?
Impossible question to answer.
There is. Hang on. All right, I have to look now. No, please continue.
Is he in AEW as an agent, maybe?
There's a guy in AEW called Brandon Cutler, but I know it's somebody different. I swear that they have a Cutler still in NXT. Is he, oh man. Is he one of the guys in the Forgotten Sons?
Ooh. I have no idea. I don't know any of the Forgotten Sons.
No, can't be. He looks like a big old football player.
Yeah, he does, but I swear he's still around. Anyway, there's somebody.
All you have to do to be in the Forgotten Sons is like grow a beard and you can just hop in.
True. Yeah.
But the match, Regal calls CJ Parker a hippie swine, and that's sort of the whole, like the match itself is like a pretty mundane sort of squash match with CJ Parker beating Steve Cutler. Nothing really notable, like he didn't look particularly impressive or anything. But it's just them continuing to reach to try and make CJ Parker a heel, like constantly saying on commentary that he's smug, he's self-righteous and that sort of thing because he is worried about the earth and he's a big hippie. So, which I don't know, they're really, to me, is like a reach. He's like the very, very great value version of he's very great value, super great value version of the eventual Daniel Bryan, with the hemp title or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely not to that level. But I went half a star. It was a nothing match.
Yep.
Weird to see CJ Parker get a win, I guess.
Yeah.
I gave it a quarter star, which is, I mean, it's a CJ Parker squash. That's pretty damning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And plus, he wins with like that weird crescent kick, which is not a very impressive looking move. So yeah, this didn't have a lot to offer. Regal absolutely buries CJ Parker as he comes out. I can't remember exactly what he said, and he's done this several times, but he really went in on him hard.
Yeah, I think he said something about his hair, like him have his hair look like a rainbow something. Like he said something about his hair.
Yes, and I can't believe it. Steve Cutler is still around, and he is part of the Forgotten Sons.
He is?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh my god,
he looks completely different.
Yeah.
To the point that I was like, "Is this the same guy?" And I'm like, "No, it's because he." United States Marine Corps, debuted 2012. Wow.
Good for you, Steve Cutler.
Yeah.
Cashing up checks.
I mean, really. Yep. With Wesley Blake and Jackson Riker.
We see Wesley Blake.
Dude! All right.
What a world.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't completely crazy.
Mind blown.
But he really does look absolutely completely different.
All right, well. You have not been forgotten, Steve Cutler.
I mean, you kind of have. But,
I mean, yeah.
But anyway, here we go for a very naturally not contrived at all angle. CJ Parker calls out Xavier Woods. He says that he's educated, he's working on his PhD, but what has he done with this? If he had the same opportunities that Xavier Woods had, he would change the world and save the planet. He says that Xavier Woods has what he wants and he needs it, which is very strange because it seems like what you normally hear out of guys when the other guy like has a title, which Xavier Woods has no title or anything. So I guess he's saying he wants Xavier Woods' clout, which I don't know how much clout Xavier Woods has. I guess he wants to steal his PhD.
I was going to say
yes.
PhD
on full
match.
Let's do it.
So very odd motivation for this feud to call out Xavier Woods.
That's going to actually be Xavier Woods' dissertation. He's going to walk into the room, ladies and gentlemen, and all of a sudden it's going to turn into a wrestling match.
Yes.
And the winner, whoever retrieves the PhD,
Gets to be a doctor?
Yeah, is now a doctor.
Awesome.
I can hear Tony Schiavone. He's got to give a citation. Citations.
He's going to take his MCATs.
But so he is called out Xavier Woods, so we'll see if anything comes of this this feud, because he's just decided to go after Xavier Woods. Right. We get a quick look back at the Tyson and Natty drama.
Is it ironic that the environmentalist character goes after somebody named Woods?
Yes.
They should have made that the reason why.
I thought they might when he was holding up that sign.
Like, normally I like the Woods, but I hate you.
But I hate you.
Oh, it was right there. You're right. It was right there, Jenny. And they just didn't.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to show you what the corporations are doing to the Woods. Watch what I do to these Woods, and like beats them up. He's like, it's symbolic of what we're doing to the planet.
Yeah, it's not commentary.
To the planet.
Well, you see, Woods is his last name, but really it's symbolic, and you're just like, wow, why do I watch this?
Right. Well, you might be watching to see where Tyson and Natty's marriage is going to go. So we get a sit-down interview with Tyson Kidd and Renee Young. And Tyson is in like a suit, which I thought was kind of odd. Like he looks like he's going to homecoming. I don't know. It just seemed odd to see him in a suit. I don't know. I get why they did it. It's like a sit down interview, but it's just, I don't know, for some reason it looked odd. But she kind of just asked him why he's been acting the way he did, why he didn't shake hands. And for all of these, he kind of blows it off and pretty much says like, well, I was off my game. I wasn't in the mood for it. I messed up that night. But the whole time he seems very insincere, which I don't know if that's what they were going for. But I guess they do, because where he eventually goes, I think that's probably what they're going for. But for all his apologies, he basically says that he didn't mean to do all this. He loves Natty, blah, blah, blah. He's not worried about people thinking he's jealous of Natty. But he comes off as very insincere. I put that this is like the like HBK's like post-reformed life interviews where they ask him all these things. He's like, look, I don't know, man. I was in a bad place. I don't know. I wasn't feeling good that day or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much all Tyson Kidd says. He's like, look, I was in a good mood. I'm sorry I was mean to my wife and acted like a dick. And he also says he doesn't mind. She asked him, like, do you like when people... What do you mind when people chant out Natty's husband? He says, no, you know what? I deal with facts, and it's a fact, so it doesn't bother me. Which I thought was an absurd answer.
You already said fact makes it funny.
And so towards the end of the interview, Renee really starts cutting deep because she's like, do you feel like you're living in your wife's shadow? And then she just goes, are you guys having marital problems? Which I thought was maybe... Renee just really
he said, don't hold back, They sort of said this was going to be a very deep interview. So
true. She pulled no punches. She's like, are you having marital problems? And then he walks out. And so I guess my main thing with this is like, where are they going with this whole Natty and Tyson Kidd drama thing? But Trouble in Paradise for those two.
This is what I have written down. This is what I refer to as the my wife interview, because he kept saying it over and over and in a way that was like almost like he was trying to distance himself from Natty by not ever saying her name, but still acknowledging their relationship. I don't know. It was really off because it felt like he was trying to play a character, which he's not very good at.
Right.
And the character is someone who is, like you said, Jake, very insincere in answering these questions and making excuses and going through all of the recent events. Whereas, they always say the best wrestling characters are just kind of yourself turned up to 11. Mm-hmm. And I just think the whole thing would have came off a lot better if he had been sort of fired up and just like answered these questions as a normal person instead of doing this kind of weird dancing around trying to almost follow a script. And it just, I don't know, it just really didn't connect. Jenny?
No, I don't care about Tyson Kidd or his marriage to Natty, so
Yeah.
it's just not working for me. Like, none of that. I don't like Tyson Kidd. I don't want to watch him wrestle. I don't want to see him be a dick. He can go away.
Like, I sort of see what they're going for.
Like, yeah.
I just, these two are not the ones to carry it, Tyson and Natty.
I mean, there is a story that you can tell doing this, but not with these guys.
No.
It's just, none of it works. And so it just, you know, it makes it all, like you said, why am I watching this? Like, and it's just like, I can't.
And to your point, Tim, I don't really know why he tries to make all this stuff veiled, because he's going to kind of heal off pretty soon anyway. So why not just let him, let this be kind of his turning heel interview? And it probably would have came off a lot more compelling if he just comes in, like you said, and he's way fired up and he's like, look, I don't have to apologize for any of this, whatever. My wife needs to stay on my business, or like just go full on.
Yeah,
being a dick,
or like been dismissive. Like, he could have been dismissive towards Renee, and that would have come off as heelish, without, you know, burying Natty, because apparently they're still trying to do this like lovers quarrel thing, and you know, there's ways to do that without my wife this, my wife that.
Yeah,
it's just so weird.
Yeah, because then at the very least, he would have the heat of like, well, he's a dick. I want to see, you know, Neville or Sammy beat him up. You know, you would at least have the most base wrestling sort of foundational thing. But here it's just kind of like, I feel like they're not even worried about him wrestling people. It's like just a soap opera about him and his wife, like, not getting along. So, all right. But anyway, our main event is going to be Sami Zayn versus, I kept in my notes calling him Justin Gabe, because I felt like I didn't want to have to put Justin Gabriel every time, because it's a lot to say. So I'll call him Justin Gabe. Regal says, so Regal with his own random facts, but it does make sense. He says Sammy is very popular in the UAE. So interesting there, which I guess makes sense given his, you know, his tights and everything and his background. But we have Tyson Kidd at ringside here. Regal says that he has had marital problems in all 17 of his marriages, which I thought was funny. And he also lets us know of, which I thought this was actually pretty interesting. He talks about Justin Gabriel's lineage, that is like, I think he said like his father, his grandfather was like a famous South African wrestler or something. And so at least that was like relevant to him being a wrestler, and not just where he eats lunch or whatever.
like
Renee.
Where did he learn his leprechaun dance?
Yes. So after some feeling out, we mostly get sort of Sami Zayn doing the Sami Zayn getting his ass beat for a while thing, with Justin Gabe on top, and Sammy's constantly trying to fight out, and he gets getting cut off. At one point, it did get a little bit of kind of just big move pin at one point. I did like when they went to when he did finally get to the Koji clutch. I thought that was really cool. And Sammy ends up winning it. I thought Justin Gabriel showed a little bit more personality in here, I guess because he's kind of working de facto heel in this match. So he came off a little more interesting than he has previously. And overall, I just thought this was a good TV main event. And pretty much a Sammy showcase, because we got to see him sort of sell for a while and then make his comeback, which he's really good at. All that, he's an awesome face. He does all the little things, like when he's trying to fight out of it, when he's getting beat down and everything. So yeah, I thought this was another good TV main event. It's the one thing I feel like here that they're pretty consistent at, is delivering at least a good main event. And I was surprised that Tyson did not really play much of a factor in the match, but I went 3 stars on it. I enjoyed this a good deal. Mainly due to Sammy.
Yes. I actually I wasn't expecting to like this at all, just because of Justin Gabriel reasons and Tyson Kidd, but I actually got into this one quite a bit. I thought Sammy was really good. I thought that even Justin Gabriel, showed up pretty well in this one. Not bad at all to watch. And he kicked out of the Blue Thunder Bomb, which upset me a little bit. I felt like he probably didn't need to do that, but like you said, towards the end, it got a little big out, kick out kind of thing. And I really liked the suplex into the turnbuckle that Sammy got on him. That was pretty awesome. And Sammy won, so thank God for that. 3 1/4 stars for me, Tim.
Whoa. Okay. I guess I'll be low man on this one, not by a lot, but this is one that I like agree with everything that you guys said. I'm just something about Justin Gabe's offense is like a little off for me, and I can't even tell you what it is because I can't put my finger on it yet. Like it just feels like he should be doing more, or I think he's capable of more and is kind of holding back. I don't know. I don't know if that's it or just in my mind that's what I've invented. So I did like the finish with that like kind of flash submission. That's the type of thing that we always talk about. Like we want to see more of that kind of thing in wrestling, where it's not like totally always going to end on a big move finisher or signature submission hold. Like sometimes it could be like a guy just kind of gets lucky and it has that quote unquote real sports feel. And for a TV main event, very fitting. And ultimately, I was like wanting to give this 3 stars, and I couldn't do it. I stopped short. So I stopped short, much in the way I feel like Justin Gabriel is doing some of these matches. So I gave it 2 3/4.
Okay. Got the Justin Gabriel doc, the J Gabe deduction.
Yeah. Docked it a little bit.
The only move that I thought really that I was like, oh man, with the kick out is they did sort of the I don't know what you call it. I feel like we've talked about this move before, but it's kind of like he holds him almost like a package sort of way, like, and then hits him with like a neck breaker.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that was pretty sick. And I was like, looks like it should. Yeah,
it was like an Emerald Fusion New Japan type move over the knee.
Sammy, he really put some stank on some of this stuff. You know, like it's a special Sammy thing, I think.
Yeah, to Tim's point, I agree about Justin Gabriel. I guess for me, it was like Sammy did enough to kind of, like he had enough fire to make up for kind of Justin Gabriel's sort of lack of any sort of energy, or like I feel like Justin Gabriel doesn't do any of the little things. Like you said, Tim, he's like super talented. He's a good athlete, but I feel like he just doesn't do the little things that are hard to really like describe. But
it's not, like he's not super cohesive. He everything he does looks really fluid, but it doesn't really tell a story. I guess maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, this might just all be in my head, but I docked it.
Yeah, and I like the Koji clutch finish too. But after the match, a Kid comes out. Tyson Kidd attacks Sammy. Justin Gabriel goes in to double team him. So kind of this is where we're really starting to fully see Kidd and I guess his buddy Justin Gabriel sort of turn heel. But our hero Neville comes in and makes the save because he is our knight in shining armor. And so that's sort of how we close the show, which kind of like to what we were talking about earlier in the sit down interview. So he's pretty clearly a heel now. So why not have him heel off in his little sit down suit interview? But this episode, I went similar to the last one because to me it was not that much different than the last one. We did have the women's match that I did like a good deal, but we did have a little bit of junk in the middle also, and then a good main event. So that seems to be the formula for these is, kind of do some squash matches, some hit or miss sort of stuff, but then bring it home with a good main event with either Sammy or Neville. So I went 5 out of 10 on this one. Again, a perfectly okay show.
I went a little bit higher, 5.5 out of 10. I like the women's match. I think more than you guys. And, Sammy, I feel bad for him. Like, he finally wins, and he doesn't even get to celebrate. He just gets his fucking shit pushed in again right after the match. But anyway,
Bastards.
5.5.
Right.
Tim.
I'll give it a 5. I guess I liked it a smidge better than the last show. Mm-hmm. And I think it just flowed better overall. So, but not appreciably different.
Yeah, it was kind of bookended by 2 good matches, and then, an assortment of things in between.
Although I guess I was higher on the last main event than I was on this one, but whatever. Whatever.
Where you can find another assortment of things is on the various feeds on Place to Be Nation, including the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed. So first of all, check out the new PTB Wrestling Network store and show off your favorite podcast logo and great merchandise like T-shirts, hoodies, and more, including, I think we need to include on here that you can get coffee cups, because I think that's a pretty sweet piece of merch too. The coffee cups are pretty cool. So just go to tpublic.com, type in PTBW in the search, and you can find all of them. And TeePublic definitely does sales all the time too, so check that out. There's some really good designs, including the one for this very podcast, PTBNXT. All the money made off of will go somewhere else besides us. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it goes to pay for the feed.
Yes,
I haven't gotten any royalty checks, so I can vouch for that.
We're gonna Jesse Ventura and call our agent and demand.
Then again, we have hypothetical listeners. We may have hypothetical sales.
Yes.
Where's the T-shirt, Monte Criscolo? The men of NWA Crock and Roll returned in 2020 with a look back at the television of September 1985. I'm on that podcast with Sean Kidd. That was a lot of fun. Going back to the NWA stuff from 85. Tons of awesome flair and awesome dusty stuff on those shows. On episode 567 of the Place to Be podcast, Scott and JT are joined by Andy Atherton for a visit to MSG for the historically fun SummerSlam 1991. Where you can see Hulk Hogan fighting for America. December special Sunday series has a return of Marty Sleaze. Marty and Jerome from PWO continue their 5-part series, counting down their 25 best TNA Impact matches of all time. Interesting. With part 4, matches 10 through 6. Jenny, do you think you come up with 25 of the best TNA matches based on what you've seen so far?
No. Maybe in the X division, but
yeah, it's, maybe in the 20 years it's been around. Maybe Marty Sleaze has apparently come up with at least 25. So it's a Christmas party time on the Special Relations podcast. Callum, Rory, and Ben have some guests to enjoy the holiday season and a live watch of SummerSlam 1989. I love that all these are about SummerSlam and in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Fun. On a Christmas Day release of Highway to the Impact Zone, hey, I'm on that podcast too. Logan interviews his idol, Goldilocks. Then back to work as they recap the final pay-per-view, number 111, and Impact number 14. And that pay-per-view, I can tell you, is not good. But the Goldilocks...
There seems to be a collective trauma from...
Yes. But the Goldilocks interview is really good. She's pretty honest about everything and really... is not afraid to talk about her experiences. So on episode 566 of the Place to Be podcast, it's the 10th annual Christmas Spectacular. And we're going back in time. Listen to find out where or when. And you can listen to, in character, of course, all 3 of the members of the PTBNXT crew on the Christmas Spectacular, which is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic piece of business. So be sure to check that out.
You also hear my thoughts in the background unintentionally in some cases.
Tim corpsing, as they say. Please rate, review, and subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Just search the Place to Be Wrestling Network. Check out Place to Be Nation Pop feed with some great shows that include The Year in Pop, Laughing Theater, The Great Debate, Diamond Conversations, It Was a Thing on TV, A Piece of the Action, Making Mount Rushmore, Blockbuster Rewind, so much more. Subscribe today. And while you're here, subscribe to a pair of tremendous pair of tremendous podcast feeds. First, Jennifer Smith's The Jenny Position is the home of Geek and Sassy, Talking Pop, Freak Out Drive-In, Brother Sister Rewatch Podcast, The Journey Through Infinity, and more. And also check out the new North-South Connection, brought to you by JT Rosero, Chad Campbell, and Aaron George. It's the official home for Wrestling Warzone, No Holds Barred, the Extreme Three-Way Dance, the Gang Gets an Always Sunny Podcast, the Ruthlessly Aggressive Podcast, TNA Never Dies, Shrink Wrapped, Rank and File, and more. And join our rejuvenated Place to Be discussion group on Facebook. Go to Facebook, look up Place to Be, and request an invite. Discussions and fun wrestling, movies, tournaments, and all forms of pop culture. Be sure to check out PlaceToBeNation.com each and every day. We have new voices and fresh takes, bringing you articles on topics in the worlds of wrestling, sports, and pop culture, including Trent SmackDown and Fox Report, This Week in WWE by John Crow, Paul's Perspective, Ben's Unpopular Opinion, and Matt's Disney Live Action Journey. If you're doing online shopping from Amazon, be sure to click on the banner on the right side of the Place to Be Nation homepage, or use placetobenation.com/Amazon, and takes you right to Amazon and helps out PTBN with no cost to you. And while you're at it, pick up a copy of longtime listener Adrian Cotton, not Adrian Neville's second book, AWO, Big Time Players, Episode 2, Continuing to Grow. It's a vivid description of Alpha Wrestling Organization program, Big Time Players.
What are we doing?
Continuing to grow. Big Time Players. It's available as an ebook and a paperback. You can get both episodes 1 and 2 on paperback for $15.98. Big Time Players Continuing to Grow sounds like an Alex Riley film.
Oh God.
All right. So check out all the great things on placetobenation.com and all the various feeds where you can find all three of us in various forms.
Liquid, solid.
Yes, plasma. All right. So we have one episode of NXT left to roll through, and that would be the July 10th, 2014 episode. We start off with a very important match here, which is a number one contenders match for the NXT Divas Championship or NXT Women's Championship, and it's going to be Bayley versus Summer Rae. Again, we are back to the lesser commentary crew here, and they are just immediately all over the place. I couldn't even keep track. They were talking about Trish Stratus for some reason. I couldn't even follow what the hell they were talking about. I think I started checking out on what they were saying at certain points. All right, so this match, Summer is definitely using her stretching-based offense here. She uses some kind of like bow and arrow looking submission at one point. And really one of my biggest things here, like we've talked about, Bayley's look pretty good in what we've seen. Like on the last show, she was pretty good. But Summer here, again, is not looking super great. She's just not very fluid in what she does. Like definitely not up to Bayley's standard, but Bayley looked really good in this match. But then kind of randomly, Summer wins it with the Summer Crush, kind of wins it out of nowhere. And I was very shocked at that result because it sort of seems like there's a little bit of a Bayley push going. So yeah, it was, this was okay. I don't know. I want to star at a half on it. I thought Bayley looked good, but to me, Summer Rae couldn't really hang with her too much, and it kind of hurt the match. But it definitely sets the seeds for the BFFs exploding, because this seemingly sets us up for Summer Rae versus Charlotte, I should say, now. So thoughts on this big number one contenders match?
What a wasted fucking opportunity.
Yep.
I mean, why is Summer winning this? This makes absolutely no sense to me. Well, I mean, I guess it does for the BFS bullshit, but they just broke up. Like, I don't know. It's whatever. I don't care about Summer Rae. Quit trying to make Summer Rae a thing. It's not gonna happen. That being said, this is probably the best we've ever seen her look, honestly. The best match, I think, I've seen of her for sure, and she's not like bad. She's just like, she's all floppy, like, cause she's so like skinny and long, and like her limbs are all like gangly. So all of her moves look sloppy and like floppy, and like her follow throughs are just like wimpy and weak looking. I don't know. It just, it's just her body type. Yeah, I don't know. She just
like she wishes she was a big time player, continuing to grow, but she's not.
Yes, but she's no. So I'm at a 1.5 stars for that one as well, Tim.
I was somewhat more forgiving, I think, because I found it bad, but like good for a Summer Rae match, similar to you, Jenny. It's sort of like she's always
she gets a handicap, like
yeah.
I mean, points. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I hate to be like that, but she has like kind of a low ceiling, but I think she kind of hit it here. So good for her. Like she kind of stepped it up, which is still not saying much, but in singles competition, it was, I'll just say it exceeded expectations, which were quite low going in. I don't really agree with that decision of putting her over. It just seems like Bayley has been positioned so much above Summer Rae, who like had a long hiatus and really has only recently returned, so it just kind of doesn't sit right. That I don't know, it's not so much that she won, but she just gets like a clean win over Bayley. Just seems a bit shitty. Hopefully this is all in service of just writing her out very soon, forever. I'm hoping she just goes on to lose to Charlotte in spectacular fashion. And certainly we know Bayley will bounce back. But all in all, I went ahead and gave it 2 stars.
Damning with faint praise from Tim there. He's like, it was all right for something that sucked.
Honestly.
But yeah, I agree. I think
yes.
Hopefully it's kind of like she just hopefully she just goes up against Charlotte and like gets beat, and then that's the end of her, and then we can move on past the BFFs and to bigger and better things. Continue to grow. So backstage, Neville scolds Tyson Kidd with Sami Zayn as they kind of do like a little buddy sort of promo here. They're not happy with Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd's actions, and Sami says he was especially disappointed in Justin Gabriel because he thought that he was better than this. But I kind of like them as like kind of babyface sort of. I don't know. I enjoyed them as like buddies here. Maybe it's just because I like both of them, so I didn't care if maybe it came off as corny or not because I enjoyed them together. So good promo.
I like that the story has sort of made them de facto allies when they haven't like been all that friendly in the past, but they've certainly always had professional respect for one another, and now they're kind of commiserating over recent events. Makes sense.
So I think it's one of the commentary, I think, poses this question a little bit later, but I wanted to ask it here because I think the gist of it was like, is Tyson really showing his true colors by being a jerk? Like, was he faking being a nice guy before? Or is he finally coming into his own and this is just how he always is? You know what I mean? Like, he's always been a dick, but he hit it or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's done enough to really give us anything to like read into. It kind of seems like they're playing it as if he is a nice guy, but he's so frustrated that he can't win that he's sort of turning to, like his frustration has led him to, be mean to his wife and start acting like a dick. So I guess that's kind of how I read it. I don't know, Tim, what do you think?
Do you feel like being a dick is working out for him?
Not yet. So
not so far. Although, I mean, we haven't really seen him wrestle like, well, I'll answer that question later, Jenny, but as far as the like the character progression, yeah, similar to Jake, I just think the idea they're putting forth is that he thought he would, kick it in NXT for a while, like pick up some nice wins, sort of dominate because like he's a main roster big shot, And the fact that he's found such little success is now really eating away at him, and he's getting frustrated and turning to the dark side, so to speak. And this is where he's kind of rounding that corner. So remains to be seen how effective that's going to be. But I think that's the idea that they're trying to present, is that this is like he had kind of a chip on his shoulder, and now it's like, wait a minute, why am I still failing? Why am I still floundering here in what's supposed to be the kiddie pool?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's like when you say it like that, it sounds like a really interesting story. Like, it sounds much more interesting than what I've gotten from it.
Yeah,
and I guess it's maybe just he's not the out of the ring performer to be able to pull it off. I guess maybe is the issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you lay it out like that, I'm like, damn, that's a pretty interesting storyline. Like, but I guess
it's
we
been
also have
very like
that Natty stuff too. Is kind of,
I know that kind of has just been a weird distraction. The whole, oh, he's in Natty's shadow. Like, I don't think that's something that really comes across or would be thought about by like normal wrestling fans. Like, I mean, everyone
like
knows.
Natty. Yeah, it's not like Natty's like this mega star or something.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm like, what shadow are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. So it's just weird that's what they emphasize rather than just the competitive angle, I guess, where he thought he was going to be a big fish in a small pond, and here he is, still getting his ass beat.
Well, we get to hear from him because next up we have a very a Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel kind of heel promo, very smug heel Justin Gabriel here. He says he doesn't want to be a loser anymore. And he says Sami and Neville aren't on his level because he's been on the main roster. And my main takeaway from this is just like Justin Gabriel is really awkward as a heel. Like, he's trying to be heelish, but I don't know if it's really working for him. He seems very forced, like he's just saying this stuff, but he doesn't seem like menacing or that heelish to me. But the gist of it is that we're going to get a tag team match later tonight with these two against Sami and Neville, which sounds like a pretty good match on paper. So, but as a promo, I don't know about heel Justin Gabriel.
Yeah, the same. He's not good.
Again, great value AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Great value AJ Styles. Very good. All right, so we continue on and we get Sin Cara versus Wesley Blake. Tensai says that he likes Wesley Blake because he's really into the ground and pound. So,
who ain't?
The ground and pound. Good old ground and pound. Renee also tells us that Wesley Blake has built up his body. He's very strong from hauling hay down at the farm. So he's, not weights or anything. It's all okay because he's a cowboy. So this was I called it a semi-competitive squash because Wesley Blake did get a little bit, but it was mainly the Sin Cara show as he wins with his senton. He does a few cool moves throughout this. Wesley Blake does some pretty basic stuff. I win a star. Pretty standard squash stuff for me.
I like this one pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Sin Cara bumping around. He was, he looked really good, and Blake is so thick, yo.
Calling that hay, baby.
Yeah, I mean, he does have farm boy muscles, and it works for him. It does. It works. He did all right. He hung in there and sold very well, I thought, for Sin Cara. So I give it 2 stars. Fun little match, Tim.
I actually went 2 1/4 on it.
Nice.
I liked it as a re-debut for Sin Cara. I don't think it would make a lot of sense to have Sin Cara just squash a guy. You want to showcase him a bit, but not have him really
in
look
peril or anything.
Exactly. And I just thought they struck the right balance here, and Wesley Blake was probably a good pairing for him. And yeah, maybe you and I, Jenny, are giving it like a thickness premium.
I think we probably are.
In our rating, but that's okay.
Also, the crowd is dead for this entire episode. They do nothing during this show.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yep. So I don't know. I guess I was feeling generous towards this show, perhaps.
It's very possible my brain just switches into like I'm just watching squash mode, and so I just start like.
I was gonna say every single match that Jacob watches is a squash match, apparently.
Well, yeah, and when you watch too many of these in a row, I find that it does sort of cause your brain to go into like NXT. How do I rate this mid-card overdrive mode? Like it sort of gets overwhelming, I think, after a while.
Yeah, it's like, well, this one was 3 minutes, and the other guy got 4 moves in.
let me rewatch that and see how many moves he did.
He lasted longer than Sylvester LaFour, so I don't know. Maybe it wasn't.
Start to microanalyze it.
Yeah, it's very possible. I just went into like, oh, this looks like Sin Cara's going to whoop this dude. So, but anyway, we get back to the Natty and Tyson drama. Natty talks with Tyson. She says, that interview was weird. And he says, look, I'm sorry. And he asks if she wants to be. And then he says, if you want to be part of the Tyson Kid role, you either get on or get off or something. But he definitely used the term Tyson Kid role, which I thought was pretty funny. The Tyson Kid role. He's basically like, he was like, baby, get on the gravy train or get off, because the Tyson Kid train is leaving the station. So, yeah, but it was kind of an uncomfortable interview.
Their
domestic squabbles.
This guy, man. I mean, like, she should have just fucking punched him in the face. I don't know.
Put him in the sharpshooter.
Yeah, just get rid of him. Sucks.
Well, he's also like making a big deal out of, oh, you're going to accompany me to ringside for my match tonight or what? And it's, who cares? Like, why can't they just have their own separate careers? Like, he's not out there for her matches. Why does she have to be out there for his? Like, why do they care about this?
Yeah, like, it's not adding to the storyline at all.
No.
And if his whole deal is, everybody calls me Natty's husband, like I'm in Natty's chat, why would he want her out there? And it's now like giving her a hard time about it. It's just, this is not something that anyone would care about.
No.
And surprise, we don't.
All right, so we go to some more conflict here with Summer and Sasha, as a lot of veiled shade here, as Sasha tells Summer, you deserve the title shot, even though she obviously doesn't. And then Summer says that when she wins the title, everyone's going to forget about Charlotte, and then her and Sasha can be friends again. So this whole thing, like, okay, so this is a show that we all enjoy, but this like reminded me of Pin 15, because I feel like it was because it's like adults, but they're acting like they're 13. Like 12.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So they reminded me of that, because they like physically they look like adults, but like the way they are talking is like they would be like in 7th grade.
Yes.
And it's very odd, because that's what they're basing this whole like, we can be friends. It's like, it's just so strange. Like, I feel like adults don't talk like that. Like, I'm going to take care of her and then we can be friends. Like, it's just very odd.
You're going to want to be best friends with me after I win this vanity trophy, basically. It's like, okay.
This is the emotional depth for the women that we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Fortunately, it's not like we see a ton of emotional depth from the men either, but this is more egregious just because of kind of what it's putting out to the world.
Yes, agreed.
And I feel like this promo really, I mean, I know it's been throughout this entire thing, but something about this particular promo felt very, very like they were acting like they were children, kind of.
It was the primping. It was the primping in front of the mirror, and like you said, the way they spoke, and then,
Because the thing is, like, I guess they're trying to paint a picture of these people have some kind of interior lives, right? And this is like we're seeing a snapshot of what their normal kind of day-to-day interactions might be like. You need to figure we're just seeing a piece of that, and we're supposed to take from that, this is how like these two are all day long, every day. And there's just it just breaks your brain to try to think this is in any way believable.
Yeah, like they wear a "you can't sit with us" shirt, and it's like I feel like if actual like 11-year-olds saw somebody like at school and they're like, "Dude, that's lame. Like, why are you wearing that?" You know what I mean? Like 11-year-olds would think that. Like they're like, "That's kind of immature, man." Like,
yeah.
So, all right, but we have our favorite CJ Parker coming out now, and immediately, just his presence, the commentary just rips him apart. Like, basically, like, get off your soapbox, hippie. Like, quit trying to force your views on us. Like, before he even does anything. But he gets to the ring. He calls out Xavier Woods, who then comes out, who's in a very shiny suit, a notably shiny suit. CJ Parker apologizes to him about how he acted. But Woods is not buying it. He says Xavier Woods says the PhD means he's not an idiot. He wants to rip the bird nest off of CJ Parker's head, and CJ Parker says he just wants peace. And so Xavier Woods is kind of done with him. He turns his back on him, which is probably not a good move. And then CJ Parker kicks him in the back of the head. The kick did not look very good. He like grazed him
on that.
Like, yeah, he whiffed on it. And the bad part is Xavier Woods sells it like he got knocked out. Like he's like out cold, like eyes closed, and like CJ Parker barely grazed the top of his hair, and he just like dropped. So not really good for that spot. So I kind of get what they were going for. The whole feud seems a little bit forced, but I kind of get it. You need sort of underneath feuds, but just man, that kick's got to be a little bit better. It kind of screws up the whole segment when he finally turns his back and then you whiff on the kick. So that kind of hurt it a good bit for me.
I'm going to say something that might sound petty. Perish forbid, I know. But I remember there was this whole thing about they were emphasizing throughout different shows, like on the network, they did like some kind of special or one of those like I don't know if ride along had actually started at this point, but something similar to that where I specifically remember they were talking a lot about how, we've actually got a doctor in the house. Xavier Woods is getting a PhD. It's so great. That's so cool. And it is cool. And it is something that you should maybe mention, I don't know, once, a couple times, just as by the way, this guy, multidisciplinary talent, right? But the way that they like present it and the way that they bring it up over and over and over, it almost feels like they're trying to take credit for it. It's like, we got this great wrestler, he got this PhD. He did that on our watch. Can you believe it? And it just, that's maybe me just being shitty, but it feels like that's what they're doing. Like, he did that because, we stood behind him the whole way. I don't know. And just working it into a storyline feels just stupid.
Especially with CJ Parker.
Especially with CJ Parker, yeah. Like, there's no organic connection to...
No.
Like, clearly
Woods is the only thing that is...
It is. That's more of a natural fit than CJ Parker having some weird bug up his ass because a guy has a PhD that he doesn't. Like, what?
Yeah, this whole thing is like, he's like basically saying he wants Xavier Woods' platform. What platform does he have? Like, he's like a jobber to the stars on NXT. Like,
he just lost to Bull Dempsey last week.
Yeah, like it would make more sense if he was like going after like the top guy, and he's like, you know what, or if he said, I want to be champion because then people will listen to me or something like. But he's like, you want what I have? Like, you have what I want. It's like, well, what do you want? What are you talking about? Like the abstract concept of, having an education or whatever. Like, what do you like? People are gonna listen to him. Then it's.
They also make Woods look very foolish, turning his back on a guy that he just insulted, which is just one of those.
He just said he's not an idiot.
He
Yeah,
just said he was a PhD. Oh, God.
I'm not an idiot. And he turns around and gets kicked in the head. All right. After this, we get a Vaudevillains vignette where they do so in all of their vignettes, it's like the audio is not synced up, I guess, because it's supposed to be like an old-timey film, even though I guess it can't be silent because they're talking. But basically, they just they shake hands and discuss becoming champs. I like this. Okay. I enjoy this. I feel like they have this kind of, I hope they keep them this weird because it almost gives them like this weird sort of mysterious vibe because they're so strange and they never like talk like normal people, but it kind of makes them sort of interesting that they're so odd. Like I kind of like that they're so weird, and I hope they continue to be weird and never give like a real interview because I want them to just be these like weirdos who come out dressed like this and beat people up.
Yeah.
So
it's like these LARPers who are always in character.
You say that, but Aiden is actually one of the few who's good on the mic, you know?
True.
So let's of course give him a silent gimmick. Because that makes sense.
And I didn't know before this that Simon Gotch could actually speak. I thought that his...
Yeah, he's like a mime.
Like, he was introduced as, like, the strongman mute character, which I thought was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And that Aiden would be the speaker. Because, like you said, Jenny, he's the one who's good on the mic. But here they just kind of have this casual back and forth. I do appreciate the touch of the like purposely bad ADR because it's a silent film that they have to, dub later, I guess.
Yeah, I like it too.
But I was like, oh, I guess he does talk. But it felt sort of like sudden. It felt like kind of a departure from the way he was presented originally. But I don't know. They're still working out this gimmick, obviously.
I guess what I'm saying is like, it's not that I don't want them to talk. I don't want them to give like how they'll make a lot of these people like be in the back like they're having a real conversation or something like normal people.
Yeah.
Like I guess I want them to be more almost like an 80s team where they just like come in and like maybe say some weird stuff and like say, and then we're gonna and like they talk like they're from the like just almost like cartoony in a way. I guess I want from them. I don't know. For
just
some reason.
Just lean into it, which I can see. Like a lot of these, I think our problem is a lot of the characters are presented as if they are how normal people would act. And this is one where they're not even pretending like this is in any way reflecting reality, which is fine. Because it is a very just over the top gimmick, and you might as well just lean into it.
So after this, we get this cracked me up because it's like a recap of the Ascension in their title reign. So it's like the only real highlights they have are of them facing Kalisto and Hello Cal because they faced absolutely no one. It's like the Ascension have been on a path of destruction, and it's like. They just have the highlights from that one match because that's all they've done in like 6 months. It's like Kalisto, El Local, and then Too Cool, and they didn't show Too Cool. So it's just kind of funny. Like they've been champions for like 2 years and been decimating everyone except they've beaten no one. So it's kind of funny.
They demanded more competition, and we have given it to them.
Half the videos them posing.
Yeah. And then I get it mixed up, but one guy, he kind of looks like Neville and the Undertaker, like mixed together. He has like he has like an Undertaker, but then he kind of has the crazy elf man features that Neville always was talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God.
Anyway,
Victor.
All right, next. Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but you can never be sure. So we get next up. We have Bull Dempsey is going to be going against. Noted frequent jobber here who's Angelo Dawkins. And like we've been saying, I do want to like Bull. I really do want to like him. So he does at one point, I called it the Vader sit down spot, except he actually hit it. I felt like Vader would never hit that move, but Bull Dempsey actually hits it where the guy, usually for Vader, the guy would always move out the way and then Vader would sit, like just fall on his ass. But Bull actually hits it here. He definitely goes back to his headlocks. And to Jenny's point earlier, they were pretty good headlocks. He was working them too. He kind of did a lot of gurning while he was doing it.
Gurn.
He hits it. He gurned during his headlocks. He hit a headbutt. I thought his strikes were real good. Like he had some good clubbing blows that were good. Angelo Dawkins kind of goes for a little comeback, but then Bull kind of cuts him off real quick and then finishes him with the bulldozer. I thought he looked better than last time, and he felt a little more focused. I don't know. I just like this one a little bit more. Except they did call him the one-man crime spree, which I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's a good name for someone in modern times to call him a one-man crime spree. I don't know if that people want that on a shirt, but I went star and a half.
Terrorist bomber.
Yeah, I was like, how about we need to go back to the drawing? Let's call him the old school warrior rather than the one-man crime spree. So I went star and a half. I like Bull in this match. I thought he looked pretty good.
I want a star, and I would agree with all of that. And this is the match where it dawned on me that he looked like who he looked like. So, good stuff there. Angela Dawkins, I feel sort of bad for her because he truly is just a jobber. Like, we have not seen him, I don't think, in a competitive match against anybody up to this point, and usually even the kind of job guys will still get something every now and then, and I don't think he has.
No, I don't think he has either. Are they trying to do like a Rusev thing with this guy? I
mean, he's getting a pretty good build.
Yeah.
Very dominant wins.
Yeah.
He's not as imposing as Rusev, I think, though. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I liked him in this though quite a bit. I thought it was pretty good. And I think Renee says, "Look at the ham hocks on this guy." Some more genius commentary. I like the headlock. I'm a sucker for that headlock. I don't know. He's my favorite headlock now. 2 stars.
Wow. Okay.
And he comes in at the end and says that basically calls a spot saying he's not going to stop until he becomes champion. So, yeah, definitely they've really cranked up on the Bull Dempsey push on this set of shows. Because he's calling his spot, he's going to be champ. So we'll see how he goes. But I do agree they are making him, giving him sort of this dominant, sort of like heavy hitter sort of gimmick, like Rusev, to your point. Yeah. Sammy has an interview with Neville here. Neville basically says that he saved Sammy because they go way back. They have history together, basically saying that they're friends. Sammy says that they're going to show them what they signed up for. And yeah, this was just another good little like buddy face promo for them going to the main event. They're fun together because they're both kind of likable baby faces. So we'll head into the match unless you guys have any thoughts on that promo. No.
I don't know that we needed 2 of these kind of segments.
Yeah.
But who cares, really?
It's fine.
Yeah. All right. So our main event is Sammy and Neville versus Tyson and Justin Gabe. And Tensai, as they get this started, is just badgering Renee on whether or not Tyson and Natty are having marital problems. He's like, well, tell me, Renee. She's like, you saw the interview. You wouldn't tell me. Like, she's like, I don't really know. I don't want to speculate. And he just will not leave her alone. Yeah, pretty, we haven't talked about him much, but he's pretty bad too on commentary. Well, he wasn't on the first show. He has only been on this one, but he's pretty rough too. Tim, I know you're not a fan.
Yeah. I don't know what, I don't know what to say, really. Listen. It's one of those things where they either told him, look, you're the big guy who just wants to have fun and don't ever say anything smart. Like, you're the big dumb guy commentary. Just make sure that you stay in that lane. Like, I don't know if they told him that or if that's just
who he is.
But he's definitely the big dumb guy who adds nothing of substance and is just out there having fun, Maggle.
Just love, like, they're in the headset. It's like, nope, that was too smart. Say something stupid.
You're starting to sound like you're at a third grade reading level. You need to tone it down.
Okay. So the faces kind of come in super high, and they're very focused on the arms. So we get some limb work, some limb work in NXT. How about that? But he manages to escape. And my next note is just that Neville is a freak. Like they do the spot where off of Sammy's back, and he does this like insane corkscrew thing.
Yes.
And he does that, and he's like 2 feet off the ground, and still is able to do all that before hitting. Just completely insane. And like he nails
16 rotations off of Sammy's back to hit. Like he could have just done like a moonsault, and because he's not. Because as you said, he's a freak.
He's extra.
He's insane, and I can and like he nails it too. Like he lands flush like right on his like, but because I can tell you from watching a lot of TNA, a lot of times guys do these crazy moves and then they like hit the guy's toe on the way down, and like completely miss their body. Like he connects flush like where he's supposed to land, like on the torso, not the ankle. So he does a sweet handspring reversal at one point. He was just like going off in this match, like doing all kind of crazy shit. But eventually Sammy kind of screws up by making a critical mistake and staying in the opponent's corner for a little bit too long, and that ends up getting him in a bad situation. And he just starts getting the piss beat out of him, which he's very good at. Really good selling from him. And then Neville gets the hot tag, which his hot tag, like I said a minute ago, his hot tag was really awesome. He comes in and does like these sick kicks, and he does a standing shooting star press. And then there was a weird moment where Neville kind of went up to the top rope, and he kind of looked like he was like it looked like somebody missed their cue, like they're supposed to come knock him down, and he's kind of just waiting up there like, hey, you're supposed to come knock me down. So that was a little awkward. They did a pretty cool Phantom tag thing where Neville comes back in. They all end up on the outside. Oh, actually, Neville goes. He dives, does a crossbody outside, and then they all end up outside. Sammy goes, and he does a big dive. So they're just doing a big dive fest. Natty gets bumped at one point, and it's kind of insinuated that Tyson bumped her on purpose, and he uses that as sort of a distraction because being the wonderful gentleman he is, Sammy kind of goes to help her. And Tyson takes advantage and rolls him up to get the win. I thought that was a little weird because I mean, Natty's a wrestler. I think she can get like bumped off the apron and be okay. She's not like just a normal person. She's better in the ring. But overall, I really liked this match. I thought the heels were really good, working them over. Neville was just insane. Sammy was awesome when he was sort of the face in peril. Again, it wasn't anything like groundbreaking, but I think it was more just the individuals involved and how good of a performance they did. And another good main event for me. I went 3 stars on this one too.
I actually went 2.5 on this one, not because I thought it was bad or worse than what you're saying. I thought it felt like half of what could have been a great match, but by design, because of that abrupt finish.
Yeah, it's like a middle match, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I liked the chemistry and the teamwork between Sammy and Neville. Neville, I like his energy, like he's low-key badass, right?
Yeah.
And that sort of fits with Sammy too. So a team that looks like them is not super intimidating, but they actually bring it like hard in this match. Like I really enjoyed them quite a bit. And Tyson was okay. I mean, for what he does, he was all right. But I thought Natty getting bumped was kind of stupid because, like you said, she's a wrestler. But then she comes up, like when Tyson comes out, they're all holding hands and being all lovey and stuff. So I guess that's supposed to, make her be more Little Woman vibes than, professional wrestler vibes, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I agree with that, but I also think there's what they're perhaps going for is, even though she is a wrestler, like she's not out there dressed to wrestle, like she wasn't prepared to take a bump essentially off the ring apron like that in her street clothes. Like it's one thing when you're in a match and you can kind of see it coming, but another when you're just out there and totally get smacked in the head unawares.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just trying to no-prize it.
I didn't mind the ending, because it leaves. I mean, I say it leaves room for more. I mean, I just mean story-wise, that's a good choice. Me personally, I don't want to see any more of this story. So it's, I get it. And they did it pretty well. And I gave the match 3 stars.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a way for them to kind of transition Sammy to be against Tyson Kidd. That way Neville can maybe go off and do his thing with Tyler Breeze, maybe. I don't know yet, but maybe that's the point of this. But yeah, something I feel like Neville has, like we were talking about Justin Gabriel, like he just doesn't have it. It's like Neville has it.
He does.
Like he just like a Justin Gabriel, he's a good athlete and everything, but he doesn't have that fire. Like you said, like Neville has that fire where he comes out like he just has so much energy and comes off like a badass. He doesn't just look like he's doing these cool moves and just like, hey, look, a cool move. Like he always looks like he has a purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
He also looks like physique wise, no comparison, but in terms of being that kind of super athlete, he's kind of like Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
Just does things that should be physically impossible.
Right.
Because he's like a pretty built guy. He's kind of built like a brick shithouse, and but at the same time, kind of cruiserweight, weight class, so to speak. And so he does like a million flips and just does things that the human body should not be capable of. So, I mean, he's not like Brock Lesnar physique-wise, but just in terms of being that super freak athlete, he's sort of similar.
Yeah, like in that like Ricochet sort of realm, like that whole class of guys. Yeah. Where it's just like he's done a lot of stuff like that, but to me, that thing where he jumped off of Sammy was like, that was just fucking ridiculous.
And he just he just snaps it off, right? And then he just does the next awesome thing and the next, like he's just sort of, he's not braggy about it or like showy about it. He just fucking goes in there and does it.
Yeah, he rules. He's good. So thoughts on this one, guys, to wrap us up for this third and final episode of this set. What do we think? Tim? Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's more filler on this show.
Yeah.
We got a lot of backstage stuff. We got some recaps, some packages, that maybe like the Ascension thing probably didn't need to be there. But I guess it's good to remind us that they exist. So, yeah, another 4.5, I guess. Why is that funny?
Because you cut out for like a long beat.
I did.
I know what happened.
You just went 4.5.
It's like 3 seconds of silence and like a good few seconds on 4.5.
Oh shit!
Just sound like you'd rather be doing anything.
Yeah.
Southern or Mid-Atlantic internet issues.
Oh, so I'm gonna do 5 out of 10. I think there were too many lame promos, and this disappointing Summer Rae win. So 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm with Tim. I'm going to go 4.5 because I think this main event was probably my favorite of the 3 main events, maybe, but maybe the weakest undercard, if that's what you want to call it. Like up to that point, this was, like you said, even the women's match that was disappointing, and a lot of it was just, Natty and Tyson drama and all that kind of crap. So went 4.5 on it. So hopefully we are moving, as we've seen with these, sometimes the closer they get to, the big show, they start to get a little bit more focus and they'll kind of spin their wheels for a little while because they know they have a lot of time to kill. So hopefully we are moving into bigger and better things. We'll see, I guess. But we will head to our awards. Best match, I had the tag match we just talked about on the third show.
I went with Sammy versus Justin Gabriel.
And I went with Neville versus RVD.
All right. So 3 good main events. Probably the most redeeming thing on all these. Worst match, I had. I guess I went non-squash, but I guess I'm going to be by myself on this one. But the Summer Becky match, which I'll blame on Summer.
I'm going to give it to. Let's give it to that Big Cass and Sylvester Lefort match.
I would, except we've also got. Shit, I've already lost it. CJ Parker versus Steve Cutler.
Yeah, that's true.
Right there.
Yeah, that one sucks so bad.
A lot of candidates. But,
yeah.
Rising, I had Bailey. I would say even though she got beat was stupid, but I still feel like she's kind of starting to be spotlighted a little bit. And also I had Sammy because I feel like we're kind of in a lull with Sammy for a little while, and now I feel like he's starting to be positioned a little bit more as like a key player.
Gotta add Bull Dempsey.
Yeah, Bull. True Bull.
Yeah, totally. Is it too early to say Sin Cara also? Sin Cara.
Sin Cara. Maybe a tad, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, it all depends because I could totally see him doing something and I could totally see him not showing up for another like 3 months. Like,
yes.
I have no idea what they might do. Like they're so random with those guys sometimes. Right. Like the non-NXT people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Vaudevillains too, perhaps.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Kaz and Enzo.
True. Yep. Kaz and Enzo.
Becky.
Yep. Yeah, Becky from. Yeah. I mean, she's got to be rising. I think she looked good enough. And like you said, she was over. So. Falling, I have Summer Rae for sure. Xavier Woods, just because he looks like a goober. Probably CJ Parker, go with him because that feud is kind of lame. Anybody else? Who do we need to add?
Commentary.
Sylvester Lefort.
Commentary.
The entire commentary except for William Regal.
Renee in particular.
Yeah, like, I don't know what she's doing. It's just, I don't know if they're telling her to do that, but stop her, Renee. Anybody else, Tim? Did you have anybody else to add?
Falling, I guess Steve Cutler. I mean,
Steve Cutler.
Could you fall much further than losing to CJ Parker? Angelo Dawkins, it almost feels like picking on them at this point.
Yeah, I don't think they're pretty low, so I don't know where they're falling.
Yeah, but, yeah, they're just, they've bottomed out.
Sylvester Lefort, who has more abs than wins.
Yeah.
My MVP, I had Neville easily.
Oh,
totally.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah. LVP, I went with Summer just based on her how she's positioned and how not great she is.
How not great she is.
How not great she is.
I'm giving it to Renee.
That's awesome.
I mean, it is what it is, I mean, she really was like, especially in the RVD match, like that was actively hurting the match.
It was. I mean,
it's one thing to say like random shit during squash matches, but.
I guess I'll give it to Summer also. She just sucks. Had the best match of her career and still just is the least valuable.
Still sucks so bad.
I mean, that kind of is what cinches it, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I feel good about that.
I'm really glad that she's number one contender and that we have to watch her.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a good sign when, Tim, you gave her a half a star as charity to get her up to 2 stars as the greatest match she's ever done.
And she's still the least. And is now the number one contender, as Jenny said. And the least valuable. Yeah.
Best moment, I really struggled on this one because I feel like we didn't have a ton of like moments on here. Like we had some good matches, but as far as like stuff happening outside the ring, I don't know. I mean, I was maybe the Sammy and Neville interview because they were fun together. Maybe Neville and Bree's stare down. I don't know. Did y'all have any ideas? I was kind of stuck on this.
The My Wife interview. No, that's
facts.
not bad.
You know what? I'm picking something kind of offbeat. Tim, you pointed out when the Vaudevillians came out, they said height. They gave their height instead of their weight. And
okay.
That was really funny to me. Because it's just
combined.
It's just weird. So I liked it.
Can I'll pick as my best moment that freakish corkscrew moonsault that Neville did on Sammy's back. It's not really a moment. I mean, it's a move, but holy shit.
Slim pickings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever
it's in like the first 2 minutes of just a throwaway TV main event tag match. I mean, he did not have to do that.
No.
He's not have to go off like that.
You don't deserve Neville.
No.
Very telling when one of our best moments is that some guys got introduced by their height instead of their weight. That's like the fact that that's like in like the top 3 moments is kind of telling.
Well, I'm weird, so yeah.
No, but it's just like there was no like great promos or anything.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's more about the shows than anything. But that wraps us up for this first episode of 2021 as we go into the second year of PTBNXT. Do you guys have anything to plug? Jenny, tell us what's going on.
Well, I have a podcast feed. It is called Jenny Position. You can find a bunch of my shows there. They include Geek and Sassy, Talk and Pop, The Journey Through Infinity. We have a new episode of that coming soon, or actually should already be out on Captain America Civil War. And I have more wrestling content right here on the PlayStation Nation Wrestling feed. I have more content, if you can believe it, at the North-South Connection feed as well, with the Extreme 3-Way Dance and TNA Never Dies over there. Follow me on Twitter at Jenny Position.
Team.
Excellent. So in addition to the aforementioned shows on the Jenny Position that I'm a part of with Jenny and on PlayStation Nation Wrestling, I guess I'm doing shows now on PlayStation Nation Pop, which has seen the return of Pop Goes to the Couch, where we've been talking some Mandalorian. I joined the gang for the last, I guess, 3 episodes of that, including the insane emotional finale. And we're kind of talking about doing a thing for Cobra Kai Season 3, starting up soon. Talking about doing a thing for WandaVision as well. Jenny, you and I were also with Andy Atherton on a episode of Pop Goes to the Movies, making its return because there were no movies this year because in this horrible year of our lives, 2020. But there was Wonder Woman 1984, a very divisive film. So you and I had perhaps some interesting views on that on PlayStation Nation Pop. Pop Goes to the Movies. And check out also the PlayStation Nation Special Relations Office Christmas Party, as we call it, which I popped in for part of that as we watched SummerSlam 1989, as you do, in December for Christmas. But that was a lot of fun with the gang, just a virtual gathering, essentially, since we can't, see each other in person, and certainly not this year of years. Ugh. Will not be sorry to see it go. But that should do it for me on social media. I am at Cyke68, CYKE68 on Twitter.
Very good. I'll just go ahead and plug the the Christmas special on the Place to Be Nation feed. Please check it out. I know we're a little bit past Christmas, but if you haven't listened to it, please go and listen to it. It's a spectacular piece of work, and it's very entertaining, and it's actually really good. Like the writing is honestly pretty damn incredible. It's really awesome. So go ahead and go check it out. You can hear all of us as different characters.
We are all there in some form or fashion.
Yes. See if you can figure out. Might be doing incantations and whatnot, but please go check it out. It is really fun. But other than that, this is the first episode of 2021. Like I said, fact, you guys are our great co-hosts. Facts, this is the greatest NXT based podcast on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed. Fact, I hope we continue doing this podcast into 2021 and beyond. So, any parting words, guys?
Fact.
For wonderful hypothetical listeners.
That's
fact.
A fact.
I'm glad you exist.
Fact. All right. That's it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Fact.
PTB NXT has left the building.
I broke free on a Saturday morning. I put the pedal to the